This is WOSU TV 34 in Columbus and WPBO TV 42 in Portsmouth.
Greg Frey for the go-ahead touchdown. It's caught! Throwing to the end zone. It's a touchdown! Jeff Graham and Greg Frey hook up. From Kinnick Stadium on the campus of the University of Iowa in Iowa City, Iowa, it's Ohio State football. Today, the Ohio State Buckeyes meet the Iowa Hawkeyes. Hello, everybody. This is Jack Kramer along with Paul Warfield, and we're delighted you could join us for all the exciting action as the Buckeyes today take on the only team unbeaten in Big Ten Conference action. The Iowa Hawkeyes, Paul, are getting it done offensively this year in a way different from past Hayden Fry coached Iowa teams.
Well, Jack, they're relying more on the run, at least during this part of the Big Ten season. They're getting it done with a couple of outstanding running backs. Nick Bell, a big fella, 255 pounds, over 700 yards rushing. He's simply bowling over Big Ten opponents. Also, Tony Stewart has come all the way back from that knee injury, and he's making a contribution too. But don't be led astray, because Iowa still has the ability to throw the football. Matt Rogers, the outstanding quarterback, has been completing 70% of his passes during the last 3 games.
This game matches Ohio State's fast improving offensive line against Iowa's large defensive front, which is experienced too.
Well, that defensive front featuring Matt Rulin, also Rod Davis, and the all Big Ten selection in Jim Johnson have simply been stopping folks. And they're very tough to run against, and so the task will be formidable for Ohio State's offensive front.
Today's meeting between Iowa and Ohio State is the 49th between the two schools. Buckeyes have won 33 of the previous 48. In fact, the Buckeyes have lost just 5 times in 17 tries here in Iowa City. We're seconds away from the kickoff of today's game between Ohio State and Iowa.
From all the states in more than 100 countries, they come to Ohio State. They come to study in nearly every conceivable academic area, more than 7,000 courses in more than 200 majors. They come for world-class research, a vibrant arts community, and the nation's largest recreation and intramural sports program. For the education, the experience, the excellence, the Ohio State University.
Partly sunny skies overhead, temperature around the 50-degree mark, a breeze out of the north. Buckeyes won the toss to start the game, deferred choice until the beginning of the second half, Paul. Thus, it's Ohio State's #1 Big Ten scoring defense on the field initially, and Iowa's offensive unit, which is first in the conference in that category.
Strength against strength, Jack, going in the opening moments of this ball game. Ohio State electing to put the defensive team on the field first, and we'll get a first-hand look at this vaunted Iowa running and rushing attack of Hayden Fry's.
Iowa head coach Hayden Fry in his 12th year as the mentor of the Hawkeyes program. At Iowa and at SMU, he's faced Ohio State 11 times, has won just twice. Buckeyes humiliated Iowa a year ago in Columbus, 28-0, Paul.
Ohio State has certainly had great success, as we see Tim Williams lining up to kick in 2 deep returners, Dana Hughes and Jeff Antela back in their deep spots. Buckeyes have had great success against the Hawkeyes, certainly in recent years, and even though Hayden Fry has been here with this program, he has not been able to enjoy any extended success against Ohio State teams.
With the wind at his back, Williams will kick it off to Dana Hughes or Jeff Antela. And the game is on. Fine kick by Tim Williams. And Antela goes 7 yards deep into the end zone to haul it down. Iowa will begin 1st and 10 from their own 20. And the quarterback of this team is Matt Rogers, a junior, 205-pounder, 6'4", a 61% thrower on the year.
And the backs and receivers, Paul Kojava, Mike Titley, Scott Davis, Greg Adler, Mike Devlin, and Mike Miller, Rob Baxley. Nick Bell and Tony Stewart will be getting that start in the backfield, along with Danon Hughes, who will be at the wingback spot.
First play from scrimmage on the afternoon. Rogers to put it up. It's a quick out to the 28, and it's snared in the flat by Hughes. Buckeyes defensively, Alonzo Spellman, Greg Smith, and Rich Frimmel along the line of scrimmage. Jason Simmons, Tom Lee, Steve Tovar, and Jay Cook, your linebackers. In the secondary, Vinnie Clark, Brian Cook, Mark Pellini, and Foster Polk gets the start in place of Lance Price, who had started the last 2 games at a cornerback post for Ohio State. Second down and 2 needed for a first down. It is a fake inside, a lateral back to Hughes, who arches it long. It is caught inside the 40 at the 36. Michael Titley picked it off. Danon Hughes put it airborne after taking the toss from Rogers.
A little bit of razzle-dazzle. You have to watch Hayden Fry. He's known as the Fox. As we see the fake right there made by Rogers, the flip back to Danon Hughes, and he's showing pass right away and throwing a long spiraling pass to the big tight end, Mike Titley, who goes up to snare this pass. Ohio State might have had a play on the football, but Iowa makes the play instead.
From the 37, 1st and 10. Bouncing off left guard goes Bell for just a couple, if he got that much. Rich Frimmel stood up Bell for Ohio State. Pretty good job by Ohio State's defense on that play, Paul, after a poor performance on the previous one. Second down. A little more than 8 yards to go for the Hawkeyes, who switch from the I into a split back formation. Rogers to throw from it. It's a short one in the left flat. This is Bell bucking to the 29. Gain of about 6, 2 yards shy of a first down. Tovar on the hit. Tovar's got his hands full with Bell, Paul.
Bell is coming into this ball game with 15 receptions, the third receiver. It's from a split back formation. Matt Rogers will spread this football around, hitting several receivers throughout the game. This time he elects to go underneath the coverage right there to Bell. Bell gets turned up on the field, but Steve Tovar is there immediately with some help from Jim Peel. And Bell, as we said, is a big back, 255 pounds.
3rd and 2. Bell has a hole. He carves out about 6 yards and a first down to the 24. Tovar again tackled him, but it's a first down for the Hawkeyes.
Nick Bell getting the call from the I formation and up stance, coming right at you through the, getting a hole, but it shows you his big power and leg drive right there. Host of Buckeyes have to bring him down, most notably Tom Lees and Steve Tovar. Tovar, of course, coming in this ball game, Jack, with 78 tackles and leading the Buckeyes in that category.
From inside the 25 of Ohio State. Rogers to pitch it on first down. It is caught outside the 15. A flag is thrown. John Falloon picked it off the turf. He was popped immediately. Vinnie Clark drew the flag as Ron Winter makes the call. As the receiver took a blow to the head, that resulted in the penalty.
It's a quick pass out to the right to Falloon, who's out there split wide. Matt Rogers, a quick 3-step drop, firing the ball out to Falloon. Now, Falloon, at this point, his knees are down. He's down. Vinnie Clark comes up with a blow to the head, and the officials will penalize Ohio State on the infraction, moving the ball inside of the Buckeye 10-yard line.
The cast of officials for today's game, headed by Ron Winter, the referee. John Cooper's Buckeyes with their backs up against the wall. If there was any thought of Iowa starting slowly after thumping Illinois last week. Well, you can put those thoughts aside. The Hawkeyes are rolling. This is Bell pounding to about the 2. Alonzo Spellman wrapped up the ball carrier. 2nd and goal for the Hawkeyes.
Improved play from the Iowa offensive line, mainly to their new line coach O'Hara. And the Hawkeyes are creating some holes, and Bell, a big running back, as I said before, 255 pounds, doesn't need much of a crack. If you give him at least a little crack in the line of scrimmage, he's going to make yardage.
Play clock is down inside 10. It's at 5, and the Hawkeyes must exhaust a timeout. As Rogers trots off, Iowa apparently did not have the right personnel on the field and/or didn't get the play in time. It simply could have been the latter, Paul.
Well, the smart move to make by Iowa was to call a timeout. They're down close, knocking at the door for a touchdown. They certainly didn't want to be penalized in that situation, and so it's going to cost them a timeout here, and they may need that timeout later here in this half, but I think it was a wise decision.
Hawkeyes, after whipping Illinois on the road last week on the heels of victories at Michigan State and Michigan, might have suffered a letdown coming into this game. Bucks hoped that that would happen and they could jump on Iowa early, but Hayden Fry seems to have Iowa well prepared mentally, and the Hawks are higher than a kite here in the opening period.
Well, Hayden Fry said that coming into this ball game, he would not have any difficulty getting his team up for Ohio State, and based on past performances and Hayden's record with only 2 wins against the Buckeyes, with I believe it is 9 losses coming into today's ball game, he certainly didn't have any reason to come in here overconfident.
And you mentioned, Paul, at the top of the program, Buckeyes would have to fear the running attack of Iowa, and as well the very dangerous Matt Rogers, who's shown his stuff in the early going.
Well, they've called on Bell at least 3 times for 16 yards, but Rogers is 3 out of 3 passing the football, and as we stated before, in the last 3 ball games, he's been a very hot passer, completing over 70% of his passes. So even if Ohio State has the capacity to stop this vaunted run game, and Iowa down inside of the 20, as you can see, possessions 47, 32 TDs, and 7 field goals, and that's pretty productive work once they get down inside of that 20-yard line. Even if Ohio State has the capacity to stop this run game, do you have to fear that passing game of theirs?
From just inside the 3, 2nd and goal. Bell in motion out to the left flank. Rogers keeps it, dives, touchdown! In less than 4 minutes, Rogers puts Iowa on the board.
It appeared to be a quarterback draw play with him spinning and faking the ball to Kajava, who goes ahead and clears the way, and then Rogers simply comes around and takes it himself off tackle into the end zone for the score.
Skillett on to try the point after. And it's right down the middle. And with 11 minutes, 12 seconds remaining in the opening period, the Iowa Hawkeyes lead the Ohio State Buckeyes by a score of 7-0. A sellout of 70,000 here at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. And the Hawkeyes kick it off following an 80-yard touchdown march. The ball trickles inside the 3, scooped up finally by Lee after Smith touched it, and Dante goes nowhere.
All right, let's look at the key play of the touchdown drive of Iowa. Little bit of razzle-dazzle by Hayden Fry, who's noted as the Fox, as we'll see. Quarterback Matt Rogers fake to Bell, flip back to Danon Hughes, who fires a deep pass to tight end Titley, who makes a great catch with Benny Clark defending along with Peel.
Ohio State starting from its own 7, 1st and 10. Flag flies. Robert Smith churns for about 5 yards. It appeared to be an offensive foul against Ohio State. Ron Winter sorts things out with his crew. Nope, it's against the Hawkeyes.
Greg Frey enjoying a fine season, top-rated passer in efficiency of the Big Ten, and joining him in the offensive backfield, Scott Graham, Robert Smith, Jeff Graham, and Bobby Olivet, the split end. The offensive line, Jeff Ellis returning, Mick Schoaf, John Peterson, Dan Beatty, Lynn Hartman, and Alan Klein at the other tackle.
Well, the infraction was against Iowa, so John Cooper's Buckeyes get first down all over again. 1st and 5 from Ohio State's 12. Raymond Harris out nursing a knee injury, so it's Scotty Graham and Robert Smith, and it's Smith getting the call again, and he bucks for 3 yards. 2nd and 2 needed. Iowa defensively, Moses Santos, Matt Rulin, Rod Davis, Jim Johnson, and Leroy Smith along the front. The linebackers, John Derby and 5th-year senior Melvin Foster. In the secondary, Eddie Polly, Brian Wise, Doug Book, and 5th-year senior Merton Hanks. Hawkeyes like to use 7 or 8 people in that secondary. The starting unit in the defensive backfield is very large, averaging 6'2", 190 pounds. Scotty Graham, outside right tackle, and he pounds for about 3. He's got a first down out to the 18. So the Buckeyes, Paul, methodically work their way out of the shadows of the Ohio State goal line and net a first down. Melvin Foster made the last tackle. Last 3 games, the Jim Coletto, John Cooper guided Ohio State offense has racked up nearly 500 total yards against the likes of Northwestern, Purdue, and Minnesota. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes at their own 18. Robert Smith meets head on with a Hawkeye at the 21. Melvin Foster helmeted the ball carrier after a minimal gain of a couple yards, maybe 3. 2nd down along 7 to go.
Well, the Buckeyes are going to have to test Iowa running the football inside, and that's where that strength is. Everyone knows that Robert Smith has the great speed to go outside, but he has to establish something inside, and right now Iowa is playing it very tough, as they have done against the likes of Michigan, Michigan State, and Illinois inside.
This is play action. Frey is belted. He's sacked back at the 12. Jim Johnson dumped the quarterback, Greg Frey, a huge loss.
Jim Johnson, the all-Big Ten choice, number 71, has not recorded a sack, but from his right defensive down position in the front line, he will get by. It looks like Mick Schoaf on the play, number 78, and gets to Greg Frey as Greg is attempting to throw the football. Jim Johnson, who last year recorded over 100 tackles from that defensive tackle position.
Buckeyes go with a sweep. It's Robert Smith knifing his way out across the 15. A good 10 or 11 yards short of a first down. Ohio State will have to kick it away as Leroy Smith and Brian Wise teamed up to throttle Smith. 4th down, Ohio State. Bowman is inside his 5 to take the snap. The return man for the Hawkeyes is Antla, who runs up and snares it at the 49, is thrown down at the 46 of Ohio State. So the Hawkeyes are in good shape with regard to field position. Rich Huffman put the clamps on Antla. Well, what a difference a year does make for the Hawkeyes.
Sure does, as the home conference record has really been reversed basically from a year ago.
And 3 big triumphs on the road for the Hawkeyes. Iowa's turned it around in virtually every category, ranking 1st in the Big Ten in the takeaway turnover figures. after being 9th a year ago in that category. Nick Bell trudges to the 42. His progress was slowed at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Bell showed a lot on that play, Jack.
Sure did. Good footwork for a big man. Lease and Tovar corralled him, but it's about a 4-yard advance.
That's the point that I really want to make on this play, that Bell running from the I formation. Watch him. He's 255 pounds. He goes up there. Look at that footwork. Slides to the outside, cuts back. Now he uses power and strength to muscle some yards. He should have been thrown for maybe a yard loss on that play, and he comes out with 4 yards gain.
7:15 to go, first period. Inside handoff, breaking loose for a first down, a loose football. Let's see who's got it. Ohio State pigskin at the 36.
John Cooper's got to be very happy about that. Hayden Fry a little bit distraught. But on the play, Kujava, the fullback, who only runs very sparingly, running the football, good position, hit very hard by Jim Peel, I believe it was on the play. But also the fumble recovery was made by Foster Polk. So heads-up play by the Ohio State defense. A big hit by Jim Peel on the play. Iowa coughs up the football. Ohio State has it.
Buckeyes +4 in this category of turnovers and takeaways coming into the game, now +5. Iowa has done a good job in that department all season long, but turns it over early against Ohio State on the other side of the 50. This is Robert Smith looking for an avenue. He can't find one. Leroy Smith throws him down.
Buckeyes are going to have to start changing a little bit. Leroy Smith, the stats on him, 51 tackles, 1 for a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback sacks. Has some very active people here on that defensive front of Iowa, as well as the linebackers. Moses Santos, number 99, the other linebacker, is quite active too.
They are all over us with...
Second down and 9 needed for the Buckeyes, who can get a first down out at the 47. And the Buckeyes elect to run it. Rod Davis comes off the stack. The ball carrier was Butler Benote, who no doubt will see a lot of action today, Paul. Raymond Harris out, nursing a knee injury.
The strength of the Buckeye offense all year long has been the combination of the running and the passing. We haven't seen the passing featured as of yet because Iowa, in the lone attempt to pass, of course, have thrown Greg Frey for a loss and a sack.
3rd and 5, short drop by Frey, and his pass for Graham is deflected, nearly intercepted. John Derby was slanting in front of Graham. Number 31, Derby, nearly made the intercept.
Jeff Graham coming into the ballgame, running a quick slant. Buckeyes leading pass receiver doesn't have a chance because Derby, number 31, from his linebacking position, took a deep drop and batted the ball away.
Bowman to take the long snap to kick it to Antla. Under 6 minutes to go, first period. Iowa leads it 7-0. Bowman with the wind, a tremendous kick, backing up Antla to the 5. He tries to spring it to the outside, cuts it ahead to the 22. A nifty return, a flag is down. Jay Cook tackled Antla, who scooted back upfield. But Ron Winter is about to signal an infraction against Iowa, which will back him up. John Cooper's Buckeyes off to a slow start in the early going. 5:41 left, opening stanza.
Buckeyes off to a little bit of a slow start, Jack, but have regrouped, came up with a big play on defense to stop one good field position of Iowa when the fumble occurred, and now Jeff Bowman has bolstered the defense by punting Iowa deep into his own territory. The Hawkeyes sustained a penalty on that return. So field position-wise, Ohio State really hasn't been in too bad a shape in this early part of the first quarter.
The shoe is on the other foot now as the Hawkeyes. This is Nick Bell taking the handoff from Rogers, and he spilled at the 14. Under 5.5 minutes left, opening quarter. Tom Lease made the hit on the Iowa ball carrier. it would be wise for Ohio State's defense to clamp Iowa's offense right here, enabling the Buckeye offense to get the ball back in the vicinity of midfield. But this Iowa offensive unit has been tough to stop all year long, averaging 38 points a game. But this time Rogers is saddled for a loss at the 11. Greg Smith, who's played outstanding football the past several weeks, nailed Rogers for a setback of about 4.
Rogers wanting to throw, get the ball out to his wide receivers on this play. The Buckeyes countered with a deep zone. Greg Smith, who's been playing outstanding football and coming into this game as one of the top sack leaders in the Big Ten with 6 on the season and leading the Ohio State team in sacks, brought Matt Rogers down on the play.
3rd and 10 for the Hawkeyes, who must get just beyond the 20 for a first down. It's a draw play to Bell. Bell slides ahead, stumbles to the 16, 5 yards short of a first down. Greg Smith swarmed all over Bell with help from Pelini.
The amazing thing about Bell is, again, for a man of his size, look at the footwork that he shows. Starts right, cuts back left, now skips over that, starts to break inside, loses his footing a little bit on the slippery turf, but still made a positive 5 yards. Buckeyes stopped him before he could gain a first down.
Jeff Graham to receive the punt from Hysack, and there is a penalty flag thrown. Keep in mind, the Hawkeyes had a 4th and 5 situation. A 5-yard walk-off might give them a first down.
Well, they're pointing towards Ohio State, and this may be a big mistake by the Buckeyes. It is. They're going to be penalized. Iowa could be very close. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see the spot.
Boy, it's going to be within inches, that's for sure. And the football is moved ahead from just beyond the 15 to a foot beyond the 20. And under the watchful eye of Ron Winter and the officiating crew, the measurement will take place. You can't give Iowa free first downs like this one, if indeed it is. Oh, it's not. It's inches short. Now Hayden Fry has got a decision to make.
Well, I would think that this would be a very easy one for Hayden to make. That he would punt the football.
He thought about it for a few seconds.
Well, you know, only for a few seconds.
3:48 to go, first period. Hysack at his 6th to take the long snap. Punting against the wind. The kick is away. And it's sailing to Graham, who fair catches at the 41 of Ohio State. Bucks will start from that spot, 1st and 10, trailing 7-0 with 3:33 to go in the opening period.
It's a fine job that was done by the Ohio State defensive unit, keeping Iowa pinned down in its own territory on the exchange of punts. Now the Buckeyes will start their offense in great field position at their own 41-yard line, but they're only 9 yards from the 50 in the theoretical 4-down territory.
And with the exclusion of the trick play, the pass play off the pitch to the wingback, the Buckeye defense, which has been on the field much of the time here in the first quarter, has held the Hawkeyes in check fairly well. Now it's time for Ohio State's offensive unit to move. Play action. Fry dishes it to Graham inside the 40, and he struggles to the 35. Leroy Smith flushed Graham to the sideline, but it's a big gainer on the first down strike from Fry to Jeff Graham.
The Buckeyes are going to have to open up a little bit more on first down with their passing. Iowa doing a pretty good job of stuffing the run. Greg Frey getting a little pressure from Mike Wells, but he steps up into the pocket and deals the ball to Jeff Graham, Ohio State's leading receiver. Big gainer. Ohio State moving the football in Iowa territory now.
Fry, number 2 in career passing at Ohio State. Scotty Graham bowls for about 3. Matt Ruland upset him. Graham's knee may have touched down closer to the 33, a gain of just 2. And a Hawkeye player is shaken up.
Again, Iowa, Jack, proving to be very difficult and very stingy at relenting in giving up the yardage on the ground. Ohio State may have to turn to the passing game on first down and pick up their 5 to 6, 7 yards on first down with short, quick passes.
That's a good observation. Shaken up player for the Hawkeyes is Moses Santos, a 6'3", 236-pound junior. I think you're right, Paul. It may be necessary for the Buckeyes to keep Iowa off balance as we take a peek at the injury to Santos.
Well, Santos looks like he's bent over backwards right there. He possibly could have injured his left knee on the play, but he got entangled in a maze of players, and right now the Iowa staff appears to be testing his left leg.
I like that first down pass play, Paul.
Iowa's playing it so tough inside and making it difficult for Ohio State to establish a running attack. So the thing that the Buckeyes may have to do is come back with a little bit more first down passing and make them respect their pass, and then Ohio State can go back to running the football with their fine bevy of offensive running backs.
Buckeye offensive unit led by Greg Frey looking on as Santos, a key member of the Iowa defense, is on his feet.
And flexing his left leg, trying to get some feeling. It may be just a little bit numb or something as a result of the blow to it, but he's getting some assistance from the field of play.
Partly cloudy skies overhead, a fine afternoon for Big Ten football. 3 minutes to go, first quarter, second down and 8 for Ohio State, just outside the 33 of Iowa. Play action, Frey to go up top, down the middle for Olive, a lunge and a catch at the 16. Bobby Olive picked it right off his shoe tops. Excellent reception by Bobby.
Again, with the experience that Ohio State has outside with Olive and Jeff Graham, it's a strength that the Buckeyes have got to utilize. Bobby Olive going right down to the shoelaces to make that catch. Excellent catch by Olive. He comes into this ball game with 23 receptions. That puts Ohio State closer to the Iowa Hawkeye goal line.
Buckeyes are indeed threatening from the 16 of Iowa. 1st and 10. This is Butler Benote, finds the going rough as the stingy Iowa defense stacks him up. Matt Rulin led the charge. In Big Ten Conference play, the Hawkeyes,
they're second against the rush.
They sure are doing quite well in that category.
And Rulin right there, number 57, he's 3rd in team tackles, but he has 3 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. So he plays a lot on the opposing teams, across the opposing team's line of scrimmage.
Buckeyes have scored points 27 of 34 times. They've gotten the football inside the opponent's 20 this year. Here's a pitch to Benote, who skirts the corner and drives to the 4. Authoritative dash by Butler Benote. He's got a first down. Doug Book bounced him to the sideline. In fact, he was shaken up. The free safety, Book, who took the hit from Benote, left the field of play here, Paul.
Well, we don't see Ohio State run the option play very much. Greg Frey, not known as basically an option quarterback, but it is in the Buckeye arsenal. He flips the ball very quickly to Butler Benote, and Benote gets the ball down inside the 5-yard line and was bounced out by Book, who was shaken up on the play.
Benote behind William Houston, surges to the 1. He almost gets in, not quite. Jim Johnson dragged him down. 2nd and goal for Ohio State. William Houston, 42, provided the blocking support for Butler Benote.
Butler Benote getting the call early in the ball game. Good runner. And spelling, of course, Robert Smith. Houston, number 42, getting in there, blocking. Also, good job by number 78, Mick Schoaf, as they create a crevice for Butler Benote to slide up through. Ball right down by the Hawkeye goal line.
2nd and goal from the 1. Graham and Benote in the backfield. This is Scotty Graham trying to go up over the top. He can't do it. He might have gotten a foot, but no more. Matt Rulin got underneath for Iowa as he upset Ohio State's blocking scheme. Good defensive charge by Ruland.
Well, that front right there, the front three of Rulin 57, Rod Davis 51, and Jim Johnson 71, they don't come any tougher than that trio.
Robert Smith has checked in as we count down the final seconds of the first quarter. Play clock is at 10, game clock at 11, so the Buckeyes must get this play off or suffer a penalty. Robert Smith is upended, but tries to get in, can't do it. He kept his balance, fought back toward the goal line, and was stopped just short. So Robert Smith, avoiding a loss, gets it back to the line of scrimmage as the first quarter here in Iowa City comes to a close. Foster and Smith made the final tackle of the opening period. We played 1 quarter here in Iowa. The score, the Hawkeyes 7, the Buckeyes nothing. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment.
Do the same to hear the band, by far the finest in the land. I want to go back to Ohio State, to old Columbus town. I want to go back, I gotta go back to Ohio, Ohio, Ohio. The hills come back and cry, we're here to do or die. Ohio, Ohio, we'll win the game or know the reason why.
With Paul Warfield, this is Jack Kramer at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Buckeyes have a 4th and goal as we commence play in the second period. The football resting inside the 1. Greg Frey complaining to the official that he thinks his teammates are having trouble hearing the cadence, but Frey goes ahead anyway. It's a play action maneuver by Frey. He could run it in maybe. He dives, he's over. Touchdown, Ohio State. John Cooper's Buckeyes are within 1, 7-6. As Greg Frey, Paul, nearly stopped on a dime before making that cut to the end zone.
Greg Frey did a great job on this play. After faking to Butler Benote, he gets outside of contain. He's looking to go to Gary Likovic inside. He can't find him. Now, just a great second effort by Frey once he's outside, putting the maximum pressure on the defense, and he gets it in. John Cooper's reaction to the score.
And the PAT by Williams is good. And with 14:58 left in the second quarter, it's Ohio State 7, Iowa 7. Senior quarterback Greg Frey with a heads-up play, Paul. He didn't panic. He tucked the football away, allowed the defense to over-pursue, and skipped into the end zone.
Well, he had 2 options, to either throw the football or to run it himself. He got outside of the contained and forced Iowa to pursue to him. He made a decision that he couldn't get the football into Gary Likovic in the end zone, and so he made a decision to run it in himself and did a great job of getting it in. The Buckeyes are on the scoreboard. John Cooper having the confidence in his offensive unit to go on 4th down and 1. Tim Williams now lining up to kick this football back to Iowa.
Antlin Hughes back inside the 5 for the Hawkeyes.
Buckeyes did it 59 yards in 7 plays. Greg Frey was 2 out of 2 pass completions for 41 yards. Butler Benote added 15 yards on 3 tries.
And Frey's completions went to Graham for 24 and Olive for 17. Well, we're just 2 seconds into the second period, according to the scoreboard, although I find it difficult to believe Frey's dash around in took just 2 seconds, but that's what the board says, as Iowa returns it back out across the 30 to the 34. Marvin Lampkin brought it back. Roger Harper from Columbus Independence High School wrapped him up. Lampkin, a little used running back for the Hawkeyes, who plays a lot on special teams, picked up the bouncing kick. 3.5-minute drive by Ohio State, resulting in 7 points. Matt Rogers at the helm of the Iowa offense. And zipping to the 38 for 5 quick yards goes Tony Stewart. Rich Frimmel and Greg Smith in there on the tackle. We've seen more of Bell than Stewart to this point, but both of them fine running backs, Paul.
Both of them sport 6.1 yards per try averages in rushing the football. And Stewart is just, about 70 yards shy of what Bell has produced so far in this season.
This is Rogers firing down the middle, open receiver inside the 45. Tovar sits on the man who made the catch right there. Sean Smith hauls it in. Rogers was right on the money. Smith found a seam in the Ohio State zone behind the linebackers and in front of the corners.
Sean Smith gets inside of the zone coverage and then finds the spot in the zone and just sort of hangs in there, makes the catch. Steve Tovar coming deep from his linebacking position to make the stop. Sean Smith coming into today's ball game, 14 receptions, 234 yards, 1 TD, 16.7 yards a catch.
Play action, Rogers looking in the flat. The catch is made. A marvelous reception by Titley. The reception registers about a 4-yard advance. Rogers felt a little heat on that play before delivering the ball. Mark Williams was starting to put some pressure on him.
He's 5 out of 5 today, but what is impressive about this young man is that he looks for his first choice. His first choice at that point was taken away from him. He quickly went away from the number 1 choice and found Mike Titley and got the ball off to him before the heat got to him on that play.
Second down, a short 6 needed for a first down. Running outside left tackle and bursting ahead is Lou Montgomery for about 7 yards and a first down. Tovar tackled him, but the 6', 212-pound sophomore Lou Montgomery barreled for first down yardage.
And Jack, he must be a crowd pleaser because you heard it sort of like sounded like a boo, but they were saying Lou.
And the first down chain is advanced forward. Iowa prefers to rush the football right up the gut or a little right of center where their strength is in the offensive line. Rogers, a bullet in the right flat, good for about 7 or 8 yards on first down. Smith makes that catch.
High percentage passes that are being utilized by Matt Rogers, the quick outs, quick slants. Those are the kind that are easy to throw, but you pick up 5, 6, 7 yards here and you put yourself right back in second down and nice, as he is in this situation, 2 to 3 yards, and keeping Ohio State very much off balance.
2nd and 2 for Iowa, 24-yard line of Ohio State. 12:45 to go second quarter. Play action. No, it's a handoff. The Buckeyes are able to subdue the play after a 2-yard advance. Williams on the tackle of Stewart. Boy, it's a good thing the Buckeyes weren't fooled as badly as I was, Paul, or it would have gone for more. The play did record a +2, close enough to the first down stake for a measurement. The chain is stretched ahead, and it is a first down for the Hawkeyes. Iowa so far this afternoon, Paul, has handed the pigskin off to 4 different running backs. They have several fine receivers.
Well, I'm impressed with the job this offensive line has done, and much of the credit has gone to first-year coach John O'Hara, who came in here, who was given the assignment by Hayden Fry of really reshaping and revamping this offensive line.
Rogers still has it. A flare pass. The receiver eludes one tackle, then is dumped. Montgomery on the receiving end. Jim Peel turned him upside down at the 16. The play goes for 6 yards on first down.
Well, again, Rogers electing to go with the very high percentage passes, this time not downfield, but to his back. Coming out of the backfield, Lou Montgomery, who slips, who ducks under Tovar's tackle, and then is tripped up on the play by Jim Peel.
Second down for Iowa. The Hawkeyes need 4. And running it goes Stewart inside the 15, inside the 10. Out of bounds at the 8-yard stripe. Mark Polini and Greg Smith finally nailed him. First and goal for the Hawkeyes.
Tony Smith, the number 2 rusher behind Nick Bell, who he alternates with, has rushed for 638 yards coming into today's ball game. 2 years ago, he sustained a very serious knee injury right here at Kinnick Stadium against Ohio State. But he's finally come all the way back, having a very impressive year, and combining with Nick Bell to give Iowa certainly a dynamic duo out of that backfield.
Rogers has done a marvelous job guiding this team all season long. Vinnie Clark on the coverage of Sean Smith. Rogers wants a penalty flag thrown. So do the Hawkeye partisans, but no sir, says Ron Winter's crew. Well, there was a flag thrown, but it was along the line of scrimmage. In fact, it was buried underneath an Ohio State lineman. It's against Iowa.
Well, Sean Smith running his pattern right now. Looks like he almost pushes off of Vinnie Clark, but Vinnie Clark right in his hip pocket actually gets entangled with Sean Smith's feet on the play.
That was a good no call, I think, Paul.
Well, the officials have actually stepped off a little yardage against Iowa.
Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes are backed up 5 yards following the illegal motion call. Vinnie Clark, I'm sure, breathed a sigh of relief that the flag was not against him.
May have dodged a bullet right there.
So instead of first and goal from the 8, it's first and goal from the 13 now for Iowa. After a pump fake, it's the same pattern to a different receiver. Hughes is tangled up at the 7. Vinnie Clark latched onto him. Second and goal from that point.
Vinnie Clark up at the top portion of your screen against Hughes, one-on-one. Hughes will make a move to the outside and breaks free and clear. Clark loses him for a second, but he regains his posture and makes a stop as Hughes makes that second move. Watch him free himself right there, but by the time the pass is thrown and completed, Vinnie is right back recovering and making the stop.
The Hawkeyes, Rogers has sent one receiver 12 yards to his right. Handoff goes to Stewart, and he is stacked up at the 4 as the Buckeyes stall that running play after just a 1 or 2 yard advance. Tom Lease met the ball carrier shoulder to shoulder, forcing a third and goal from just inside the 5.
Buckeyes are playing very tough defense right down there, right where they have to be tough. Big play coming up for Ohio State as well as Iowa right here.
10 minutes left, second period. Third and goal for the Hawkeyes. 1 of 2 converting first down on third downs today. Only 40% on the year in the third down conversion category. Play action, a rollout, good pressure, and a sack way back at the 20-yard line. Jason Simmons jerked down the quarterback, threw him for a sizable setback, and Iowa's forced now to try a long field goal.
It was a terrific play by Jason Simmons, but he's played that way all year long. He had 2 sacks coming into today's ball game. Iowa doing a little bit of faking on the play. Matt Rogers will roll out. He's got Greg Agleter, number 75, who just doesn't get the job done as Jason Simmons blows by him and drops Matt Rogers for the loss.
Skillett from the center of the field hits a low boot toward the uprights. It's good as it sails through. A penalty marker's down. roughing the kicker call against Clark, or perhaps just a bumping into the kicker call against Vinnie Clark. I don't think this infraction is going to modify what we just saw, a successful field goal by the Hawkeyes. I'm sure Iowa will go ahead and take the 3 points, unless maybe there's an automatic first down resulting. Nope. He wants the 3 points, I believe, and that's the way it'll stand. So with 9:04 left in the second quarter, Iowa has jumped on top of Ohio State 10-7 following the 34-yard field goal by Matt Skillet. 10-7, Hawkeyes lead it by 3. The 5-yard penalty against Ohio State on Iowa's successful field goal is assessed on the Hawkeyes kickoff, which will come from the 40. Skillet hits a line drive over the head of Robert Smith through the end zone. Robert Smith had touched that ball, and it was live until it crossed the back end line.
It certainly was live until it crossed that back end line, and Robert Smith did not make a reaction to it other than to signal that he didn't think he touched it, but the officials said was twirling his arm around as if the ball was in play. So it's a good thing the ball went out and beyond the end line of the end zone, which made it a dead ball.
What was Paul Warfield's most embarrassing moment on a kickoff return?
You would have to mention that here at Iowa. I got caught from behind by the very speedy Paul Krause.
He was, what, a 6 flat? You were an alleged 4-5?
Alleged, yeah.
First and 10, Ohio State trailing by 3. Scotty Graham surges out across the 25 to the 27. Leroy Smith managed to bring Scotty down after he broke a couple of tackles at the point of attack.
Scotty Graham, 3.6 yards per try, 172 yards on the season. Scotty has been, of course, hampered by a very severe sprained ankle, and it's taken him a little bit of time to get back to feeling normal again, but that rush right there perhaps is showing some things to come.
Jeff Ellis, who's missed the last few weeks with a sprained ankle, was in on the last play. He's now out. Play action by Frey, and the pass is deflected in front of Greg and falls short of Butler Benote. Rod Davis got a hand up and managed to take the football off target, and it fell harmlessly to the turf.
Well, Rod Davis came into this ball game as the most productive member of that defensive front of Iowa, with 6 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. So he's capable of creating pressure up the middle.
Third down for Ohio State. Buckeyes are zip for 3, converting first down and third down so far today. Frey steps up into the pocket, hits a receiver with a bullet at the 32. Benote snared it. He's got about 4 or 5 yards, enough for a first down. A little over 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Buckeyes trailing Iowa by a score of 10-7. Poised reaction on the last play by Greg Frey, Paul.
Well, he's getting pressure, and he knows exactly where the pressure's coming from. He moved up and stepped up into the pocket and found Butler Benote open and got the necessary yardage for the first down.
Play action again, deep drop by Frey. He throws it ahead, sidearm style, avoids a sack. Benote was in the vicinity. Rod Davis in hot pursuit of Frey.
Well, the fans are calling for intentional grounding, but a very smart play by Greg Frey, because he's under great pressure from number 54, Rod Davis. He wants to screen to Benote Butler on the left, but he just doesn't have time to do it. Benote can't get to the ball, and then Frey just dishes the ball in the general vicinity of where Benote Butler is. And Hayden Frey and the entire state of Iowa are very much against the officials not making a call.
Hayden Frey says, give me a striped shirt. I can do the job. Benote sweeping right in, but a whistle and a flag halted the play before it got started. Iowa may have been in the neutral zone offsides. Well, let's see what it's all about. Nope, it's against Ohio State. So the Buckeyes will back up 5 yards and will be confronted with 2nd and 15. 7 minutes, 34 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Buckeyes trying to counter offensively and do something to slow down that interior line rush of Iowa. They were attempting the play before to screen the ball to Benote Butlers. We're looking at Moses Santos, the left linebacker of Iowa, on the bench being attended to by the Iowa medical staff.
7 penalties so far in this game. This is Scotty Graham, and he is downed at the 29. Jim Johnson put the clamps on him and thwarted that play just across the line of scrimmage. So it's 3rd and 14 to go for Ohio State.
Difficult situation for Greg Frey and the Buckeyes to be in. Iowa, which has been creating a big defensive line rush in passing situations, will certainly be coming on this down. Buckeyes 1 out of 4 in 3rd down conversions today.
Foster is one of Iowa's 4 fifth-year seniors on defense. Buckeyes must get to the 43 for a 1st down. Frey pump fakes, and he is down at the 22. A quarterback sack for Matt Rulin, number 57, who sits on Frey at the 22-yard line.
And Matt Rulin from his left down position. Iowa rushing 3 people, number 8. You'll see Leroy Smith coming on a delay blitz. Rulin spins away and breaks himself free. Greg Frey has to move up into the pocket, and when he moves up into the pocket, he goes right into Rulin's waiting arms.
Bowman inside the 10 to take the snap. He'll be kicking into a slight breeze from the north. It's a short end-over-end kick, and it hits on Ohio State's side of the 50 and rolls horizontally out of bounds at the 46. 6:11 to go in the second quarter. It's Iowa 10, Ohio State 7. 70,000 persons here at Kinnick Stadium bask in bright sunshine now as the Hawkeyes start from the Ohio State 46. Hughes in motion across the formation. Rogers still has it. Goes long down the sideline, off the fingertips of Hughes. Paul Warfield, you called that play. You were motioning to me that Rogers just might stuff it into the tummy of Bell, take it away, and then go long, and that's just what he did.
Well, he tried to go to Dayton Hughes, but Dayton just could not get to the football. Rogers, through the first part of the first quarter and into this quarter, has been utilizing the very short pass, the very short, quick-hitting pass. That time, he went to the play action because they've been running successfully with Bell and also with Stewart, and went for it all.
Split back formation on 2nd and 10. Deep drop, short pass to Titley. He eludes Cook. He's got a 1st down, powering to the 35. Judah Herman finally stopped him, but the play goes for at least 11. 1st and 10 Hawkeyes.
Rogers is impressive in the fact that he always knows where his secondary receiver is. This time his secondary receiver is tight end Mike Titley, but Rogers will look to his left first to scan that portion of the field, and then he will come off the receivers to the left as he's looking left right now, and then deal the ball right there to Titley, who's out in the flat. Titley then turns upfield, makes a fine run out of it, gets a 1st down for the Hawkeyes.
5:42 to go until halftime. Iowa at the Ohio State 35. And this time, the ball carrier is hit head-on at the line of scrimmage, but does manage to pound ahead for about 3. Nick Bell at 255 pounds is a load. And Rich Frimmel and Judah Herman got a piece of him on that last play.
Well, looks like Frimmel right there is smarting a little bit in this matchup today. Nick Bell and Steve Tovar. Tovar, of course, leading the Buckeyes in team tackles, and Nick Bell is Frimmel right there is smarting a little bit in this matchup today. Nick Bell and Steve Tovar. Tovar, of course, leading the Buckeyes in team tackles, and Nick Bell is the leading rusher for the Hawkeyes.
2nd down and 7. Running through a gaping hole goes Lou Montgomery into the Ohio State secondary. Jim Peel dumped him, but not before a sizable advance by Montgomery. 1st and 10 Hawkeyes outside the 15.
Hawkeyes will keep you honest with that other back in the backfield. This time a little counter action right there. Big hole, gaping hole right there as Mike Miller, number 69, gets a key block for Lou Montgomery, who makes a nice gain for Iowa as the ball is inside around the Ohio State 15-yard line.
This is Montgomery again, outside right tackle. Tovar managed to bring down Montgomery, who slanted forward for about 6. 2nd and 4 coming up.
And it looked like Iowa went right back to the same play, but right to the other side with Montgomery doing the work again, pulling and trapping, and Montgomery going off tackle. Tovar sliding off the block and making the stop, but the Hawkeyes are now inside of the 10-yard line of the Buckeyes.
Twice Iowa's been inside the 20, getting a field goal once, a touchdown the other time. This is Bell. Bell drives to about the 6. Very close to another 1st down. Judah Herman latched on to Bell, hung on, then got assistance from Jay Cook. Clock winding down, near 3.5 minutes remaining in the 2nd period. The football was marked back outside the 6 where Bell's knee touchdown. It's not a 1st down. Instead, it's 3rd and a foot for Iowa. Hawkeyes employ 2 tight ends. Pounding is Montgomery to the 2 where he's upset. Good tackle by Jim Peel, who saved a touchdown. 1st and 10 Hawkeyes, or I should say 1st and goal from the Ohio State 2.
Montgomery did a good job of running to daylight. He was supposed to go right over tackle, perhaps in guard, but watch him slide to the outside right here and find some daylight there, getting outside off of Alan Cross, number 87's block, and making a 1st down.
Quick count. This is Montgomery struggling to the 1. Tovar and Spellman slowed down the progress of the ball carrier. Jason Simmons was also there, as was Tovar.
Tovar saved a touchdown on that run as Montgomery had found enough daylight. Taking a look at that play again, the 3rd successive time, Montgomery sliding to the outside is hit there. Now it appears he's almost ready to go for the 6-pointer, but Tovar comes up and makes the stop and pins him down for good at the 1-yard line.
2nd and goal for Iowa. And did the ball carrier get in? Yes, he did. Lou Montgomery bangs home 6 more points for the Hawkeyes.
We had a look at the Lou Montgomery show really on that drive as Montgomery single-handedly, seemingly, of course, with the help of his Iowa teammates, he finally gets into the end zone, but 4 straight rushes, all for plus yardage.
Number 11 is Jeff Skillett to try the point. And he buries it between the uprights. It's good. 2:17 left in the 2nd quarter. And the Iowa Hawkeyes lead Ohio State now by a score of 17-7. Lou Montgomery's touchdown caps off a 46-yard 9-play drive for the Hawkeyes. Paul Montgomery, running out of the fullback spot, has been a tough customer for Ohio State. We'll get to that in a moment as we see Skillett's kickoff soaring beyond Robert Smith and through the end zone. Excellent boot by Skillett against the wind. Not only has there been a lot of Stewart and a lot of Bell for the Hawkeyes, it's been a big bunch of Montgomery here in the second quarter.
And a little bit of a surprise, Jack, because coming into this ball game, Montgomery had only had 20 rushing attempts, although apparently the Hawkeyes have used him right down at the goal line, because coming into this game, he also had 3 touchdowns, and of course that one made number 4. So he's been in the end zone before, and perhaps Hayden Fry likes to use him once he's inside of that 20-yard line and getting down close to the goal line.
You have to be impressed by the balance on this Iowa team, both offensively and defensively. On defense, the Hawkeyes sport 6 people with 49 tackles or more. And now with 2:17 left in the half, the Buckeyes throw some fireworks at the Hawkeyes. A long bomb by Fry sails over the head of the intended receiver, Bobby Olive, in the area of the Iowa 40.
Greg Frey electing to pick on the left cornerback, number 45, Merton Hanks. He's it just happens to be the best cornerback that Iowa has. He's been a 3-year starter for the Hawkeyes and ranks as the number 2 interceptor behind Vince Clark of Ohio State in the Big Ten. Merton Hanks has 3 thefts coming into today's ball game. Might want to go someplace else.
I think so. Clock stopped on the incompletion. 2:11 to go. Buckeyes have 3 timeouts remaining. 2nd and 10. Short drop. A quick look in for Graham. Deflected. Oh, almost picked off. And there is a sample of the outstanding secondary play by Iowa. And on this occasion, it was Merton Hanks, the man about whom you just spoke, Paul.
Well, Merton Hanks is a tough customer, or experienced player. He's right there on the spot. This is going to be a short gain, and the ball was hung pretty high, and it gave Hanks almost an opportunity to make a play and cause a big play for Iowa. So, again, I might be a little bit careful in terms of who I'm going at in that secondary. Might want to stay away from Hanks and test the other side where Eddie Polly is, who is not as experienced. Buckeyes are 1 out of 5 in 3rd down conversions here in the first half.
Ohio State needs 10. Fry with some time delivers it incomplete at the 27, nearly intercepted on the play. John Derby, number 31, an inside linebacker, got a hand on it and broke it up.
That was not a good series for the Buckeyes. They didn't use hardly any time off the clock. Iowa is going to get the ball back in good field position. They've got 2 minutes left on the clock, and you can bet that the Hawkeyes are going to try to at least come out of this with 3 points, and obviously they're going to try to get the 7-pointer.
Bowman to punt to Antla with 2 minutes and a second remaining in the half. Against the breeze, Bowman with a superb kick, backing up Antla to the 31, but he shreds the Buckeyes right down the middle to the 43. Jim Borchers on the tackle for Ohio State of Antla, who brought it back on the play some 26 yards.
Looking into the sun, it was a great punt by Jeff Bowman, but a great run back by Antla as he finds a crack in that Ohio State return team and advances the ball across the Buckeye 45-yard line on that exchange of series. Ohio State, Jack, I see that the Buckeyes in that last series only had the ball for 16 seconds.
16 seconds, giving Iowa 2 minutes with which to work late in the second quarter. Screen pass to the left. This is Stewart. Flag is down. Stewart rambling for 12 yards. Foster Polk caught up with him. 2 markers are down.
Looks like Iowa is going to be called for a clip, and center Mike Devlin, number 60, might be the culprit on this play. From the end zone shot, watch center Mike Devlin. If we get a chance to see him move after initially sets up, he'll filter along the line of scrimmage, and at that point right there, he clips right there, number 82, Jay Cook, as we catch it right there, and springs Tony Stewart, but the officials see it, and they're going to back Iowa up on this play and on that infraction. And so the Hawkeyes, who were starting at about Ohio State's 44-yard line, are now on the other side of the 50 at their own let's say 47-yard line.
So it's 1st and 22. And the Hawkeyes elect to run it, and barging ahead on the play for about 10 or 11 yards goes Iowa's big fullback, Nick Bell. Iowa asks for a timeout, leaving the Hawkeyes with 1 remaining. The man who made the tackle downfield for Ohio State was Tom Lease. Boy, I tell you, it takes a lot of courage to step in front of that runaway freight train in the person of Nick Bell.
Well, the Buckeyes certainly haven't seen a back his size, but what makes him so tough is that he not only has size and obviously power, but he is not a big plotter. He's a guy who has very quick feet, and he's got surprising speed for a man that size.
And speaking of Bell, Paul, he's lugged it 9 times today.
9 for 45 yards. That's a little bit under his 6 yards an average crack, but at 5 yards a crack isn't bad real estate to be accumulating himself. The Buckeyes on the sideline right now getting some instruction from the coaching staff and coming back on the field as they're trying to figure out a way in the last 1 minute and 26 seconds to keep Iowa off the scoreboard.
Now the shoe is on the other foot now. Buckeyes offense had a shot at moving the ball with a couple of minutes remaining in the half, but gave it up quickly, 3 and out, using only 16 seconds. And now Ohio State's defense must stiffen. Iowa facing a 2nd and 13 from the 47 of OSU. Bell goes in motion to the left flank. Play action. Rogers airborne. Hughes dropped it. Looked like Danon Hughes short-armed that ball just a little bit, Paul.
Well, Danon Hughes was wide open for the reception. Could not make the catch, but Matt Rogers was just crushed by Alonzo Spellman on the play, but he had enough time to get it off. It would have been a big play for Iowa. Again, taking a look on the replay, Matt Rogers making a fake right there at that point to Paul Kavava, and watch Alonzo Spellman as he crushes Rogers, but Rogers gets the pass off. He really pays a price. Pass, however, is incomplete for Iowa.
3rd and 13. It's a draw play. This is Bell on the loose. He barrels to about the 33 or 4, very close to a first down. Jason Simmons finally managed to fence in Bell. Iowa very close to first down yardage.
Again, watch this big man, 255 pounds. You got to marvel at this footwork. Watch him start there, slide, skips back left. Now watch this. Look at that footwork right there. Finding the area. Now he uses his power. So it's a combination of finesse and power that this back has. And those are some of the reasons why he's been so successful in carrying the football for Iowa this year.
The Hawkeyes are about 2 feet short of a first down. Iowa, though, Paul, I would think is in 4-down territory here.
I don't think that you're going to see the Hawkeyes certainly go for a field goal if they're unsuccessful in this. Well, I mean, this is 4th down coming up. I've lost track of my downs here up here. That's happened in college football this season, I guess. but they're going to have to, go for it. It's obvious. But they've run out of time on the clock.
Well, the play clock had counted down to 0. There was movement along the line of scrimmage. Perhaps one of Iowa's linemen, it looked like the left guard, Mike Ferroni, had gone down into the 3-point stance, raised up. And before the snap from center was even made, Iowa was charged with 5 yards. And Brutus Buckeye and the Hawk are going at it today, just as the two teams are on the gridiron. 4th and 5 now. Rogers is sacked as he got the football away into the left flat. It's ruled an incomplete forward pass. The Ohio State bench wanted a grounding call or a sack, either one. But now a penalty is thrown against the Ohio State bench. A big turn of events late in this half, although that penalty marker would have to be judged a dead ball foul. Fourth down had already occurred by Iowa. It was not successful. So it's Ohio State possession as an upset John Cooper looks on. Ohio State will retain the football following the unsuccessful fourth down attempt by Iowa. The flag occurred after the fourth down. So Ohio State will start from back in the vicinity of its own 20 or 25 yard line with 43 seconds to go. And the Buckeyes will not have a 1st and 10. It will be 1st and 25. Ron Winter announcing unsportsmanlike conduct. Hayden Fry unhappy as his Hawkeyes did not get the first down. Of course, Hayden's never happy till the game's over and he's on the winning side.
Boy, it's tough to be an official on the sidelines these days, isn't it?
Boy, they're getting it from both sides of the field. Fry rolling out with time, shoots it for Graham to the 36. Buckeyes have got a full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. Should be using one right here.
Absolutely. Stop the clock as fast as you can.
We're down to 23 seconds and counting. Fry to the air once more. Ducks away from pressure, aims to the sideline, incomplete at the 45. Clock is stopped at 16. Scotty Graham was the man for whom the ball was intended, but the Buckeyes, who did not choose to go for the timeout before that play, exhausted, about a fourth of a minute.
They lost very valuable time, and now they're just 16 seconds on the clock and light years away even from a field goal, and it's going to be very difficult to get very much done under these circumstances.
16 seconds to go, second period. This is Robert Smith on a draw, trying to break it into the clear. He's got some daylight, get out of bounds. He does at the 48 with 10 seconds to go in the half. An Ohio State lineman shaken up back at the 42. It is Jeff Ellis, who has seen some playing time sparingly today, being spotted in for Gary Likovich. Ellis making his first appearance in several weeks after suffering an ankle injury early on in this campaign. Has perhaps re-injured that ankle.
Well, to be precise, Jack, he injured his ankle very severely in a touchdown reception against Indiana, and has only has not played really since that time. Gary Likovich, as you said, has come on and has played a great deal. And looking at the rush right there, you see Jeff Ellis blocking on the play right there, blocking number 97 for Iowa, Jason Dumont. And Jeff Ellis probably is hit from behind as they roll up on his leg in the back right there. Of course, Jeff Ellis sustained a knee injury a year ago that affected him, as you see him wearing a pad on the left leg and walking a little bit gingerly off the field and being escorted off the field to play. John Cooper now coming out after coming out to take a look to see how serious Ellis was hurt, has returned to the sidelines.
Well, that's one of those plays that within several yards of the line of scrimmage, I guess, can't be helped. It's not an infraction.
No, it's not.
But it happens quite often.
It happens invariably when a lineman, or in this case, a tight end, has his back turned and he's trying to block and help the back downfield, and somebody rolls up on his leg from behind.
10 seconds to go in the half. Ohio State with a 1st and 10 from the 48 following the fine scamper by Robert Smith. Buckeyes need 25 or 30 yards and a timeout here. Frey eludes pressure, fires. It's going to be, oh, it's caught on the deflection. Graham racing, touchdown. Merton Hanks for Iowa appeared to have had the interception right in front of him. He coughed it up, and on the carom, Graham snared it, and he raced into the end zone untouched. Touchdown, Ohio State. The scoreboard clock reads no time remaining. On the last play of the half, the Buckeyes strike from 48 yards away.
Well, the Buckeyes had to go deep on this play to even just have a hope of stopping the clock. Greg Frey steps up in the pocket beautifully. Now Merton Hanks, number 45, goes up. He has the apparent interception. The ball caroms off into the hands of Jeff Graham, who alertly picks up the ball, picks up the deflected ball, and goes into the end zone.
And the PAT by Williams is good.
And this is worth watching again from the ground level perspective. Greg Frey back in the pocket. He gets a little pressure, steps up, now throws the long ball. Number 45, Merton Hanks, will go high. The ball ricochets off his pads, but right into the hands of the alert Jeff Graham, and he takes the ball and strides all the way into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Buckeyes score as the half ends.
It's halftime. Our score, Iowa 17, Ohio State 14. We'll return with more Ohio State football in a moment.
These aspiring investment advisors are getting the experience of a lifetime in this Ohio State University senior finance class. They're learning the ins and outs of investing and portfolio management with an assignment that goes beyond the usual monopoly money investment exercise. After months of researching and analyzing companies and stocks, these students are making their stock recommendations to the class. They're investing $5 million of real university money in the stock market. Student Brad Corbett says the fact that students are investing real money makes the class very valuable.
This is the first class that we've actually used real money, so that puts a lot of more pressure on us and makes us, I think, kind of work a little harder than play money. Is just you kind of get the ho-hum effect where if you lose anything, you really don't lose anything. But real money makes you wonder, you know, well, if I say buy the stock, am I going to have a bad name in the class because the class is losing money?
The stocks chosen all fill the university's investment strategy for conservative long-term investments. The $5 million is part of the university's $300+ million endowment fund, money donated to Ohio State for the purpose of being invested. The idea that students should act as investment advisors was proposed by and then had to be approved by university trustees. Finance professor Stephen Buser says before spending any real money, there was an 18-month trial period where students invested hypothetical funds into stocks and then tracked them. Those paper investments earned a 22% return.
Trustees made it very clear. We had to make a formal presentation to them at the end of our paper experiment, and they made it very clear that we would be treated as an ordinary portfolio manager for the university. Now, they do give it leeway. They like to evaluate performance over a long period of time, typically 3 or more years, rather than quarter to quarter. But for any portfolio manager, if they do not perform up to expectations, they could have the amount reduced, or they could lose the account entirely.
Despite the recent downturn in the market, the student management team has continued to outproduce the Standard & Poor 500 index. From the Ohio State University, this is Amy Murray reporting.
It's the second half of Ohio State football. This is Jack Kramer with Paul Warfield at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. The Buckeyes trail the Hawkeyes by 3, 17-14. We're seconds away from starting play in the third period. Iowa will kick off with the wind to begin the second half. Hawkeyes will have the wind advantage to begin the second half of action. Buckeyes will have the football. Buckeyes scoring on the final play of the second quarter, Paul, now have the opportunity to get the pigskin to start the second half and forge on top in this
Well, they
game.
had the opportunity to score at the close of the second half because their defense did such a good job in thwarting Iowa when the Hawkeyes had the ball with 2 minutes left.
Kickoff by Skillett. Sends Dante Lee to the goal line. He stumbles and comes back out with it. Down the sideline, neat return by Dante Lee as he danced out across the 25. Ted Faley managed to corner Lee in front of the Ohio State bench. That return by Lee didn't start off too well, but he finished up just fine.
Excellent return. Ohio State will take over the football and have it at their own 30-yard line. This is good operating space. Greg Frey will now have the opportunity to come out with not feel pressured with his back to the wall, can call virtually anything he wants to call. It'll be up to Ohio State to execute it and make it work.
From the 30, 1st and 10. And barreling right down the middle goes Robert Smith for about 12 yards. John Derby made the tackle. Boy, the Buckeyes, at least based on the first play, Paul, appear to have made some blocking scheme adjustments.
Perhaps they have. This has been the most impressive run inside of guard and tackle. Robert Smith from the tailback position will follow Scott Graham. Big hole up into the center of the ball as Robert Smith pours it up in there for a first down for the Buckeyes.
Smith needing just about 30 yards or so to pass Archie Griffin's freshman rushing record at Ohio State. A whistle and a flag before the snap. Iowa motioning that it's against Ohio State. And it is a procedure call against the Buckeyes. We've noticed on occasion, Paul, that it appears as though the Hawkeyes are lining up in the neutral zone defensively. Ohio State head coach John Cooper perhaps has talked about that to the officials today. Robert Smith off to a good start here in the second half.
And you see what he is, 99, almost 100 yards a game. And looking at some other great freshmen, Tony Dorsett, Herschel Walker, Emmett Smith, Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson. That's a mighty fine company to be in.
And just off the bottom of the list, not on the screen, was Paul Warfield. Oh, loose football. It's picked up by Smith, and he's wrapped up at the 37. Gary Clark came up to hem in Robert Smith.
The option that was very good to Ohio State in the first half of this ball game. Greg Frey, after faking to Scott Graham, elects to go with it again. Leroy Smith really causes disaster right here as he tackles Greg Frey very hurriedly, and there's an erratic pitch to Robert Smith, but Smith holds his composure. The Buckeyes really escape that possible play. It could have been a big turnover against them.
Second down for the Buckeyes, who must get to the 48 for a first down. Frey steps up and throws it, almost intercepted, intended for Stabline, but Clark had a much better shot at it. That's twice now, Paul, in less than 2 minutes of this game. The Hawkeyes have had interceptions in their hip pocket.
Well, Greg Frey has stepped up into the pocket all afternoon long and has been successful a lot of times. This time he has to move up because of pressure from the outside, but he throws hurriedly. And number 19, Gary Clark, just can't find a handle on that football. It would have been a big turnover for the Iowa Hawkeyes, but the Buckeyes survived that play and they line up for another try.
Buckeyes have not done well converting first down on third down. And as the play clock winds down to a second, the Buckeyes have to exhaust a timeout.
Well, they had to exhaust the timeout because they had 12 men in the offensive lineup, and Robert Smith was hurriedly sprinting off the field, and they had to wait until he left the field to play. By that time, the clock had almost expended time, and Greg Frey elected to call the timeout.
Too bad the Buckeyes can't use one of those 2 timeouts they'd saved at the end of the first half. I'd like to have a couple of those back.
Well, they certainly could have used it in this portion of the ball game here. That timeout perhaps will hurt because this is a very tight ball game, and you may need that later on during the course of this afternoon.
Ohio State now with 2 timeouts remaining over the final 28 minutes, 26 seconds of this contest. So after carving out a first down very quickly to start the third quarter, Ohio State is now faced with a 3rd and 14 at their own 37. And you've got to believe that Iowa is going to be shooting a linebacker or two, or perhaps a defensive back on this play, Paul.
Well, the Buckeyes have not really been very successful in this situation. Iowa has had the advantage. Hawkeyes have done a great job on third down of putting pressure on Greg Frey. So Buckeyes looking to have some success in this particular series on third down. A lot of pressure has been generated from that front three of Jim Johnson, Rod Davis, and Matt Rutland. They've been around Greg Frey most of the day. Hawkeyes are operating without Moses Santos, number 99, their outside linebacker who came into today's ball game with 4 sacks. And Buckeye possessions, as you see there right in the first half, punt, 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 punt. And so with a couple of TDs in there, and so Ohio State looking to try to get something going right here in third down 15.
Scotty Graham is the lone setback. Olive in motion on 3rd and 14. Frey rolling right, sets up and heaves it. Open receiver Graham. He can't hang on at the 26. Graham had to come back for it. Was looking into the sun, could not make the reception as Hanks and Polley got over to cause Graham some problems.
The Buckeyes in this situation not going for just the first down, but Greg Frey winding up and going for it all. He really had Jeff Graham open on the play, but he had to come back for the football. If Greg Frey was able to get it out there a little bit further, Jeff Graham perhaps could have made a big play in this ball game.
Bowman at his 22 to take the long snap. And he steers it for Antla at the 21. He jitterbugs his way to the 30, to the 33, a 12-yard advance with the punt by Antla. 13-13 to go in the third quarter. Iowa leads Ohio State by a score of 17-14. Bowman's kick returned by Antla, who was tackled on the play by Lance Price and assisted by Mark Williams. No, Jim Borchers was the man downfield along with Price. Hayden Frey, who's known following the exchange of the football to try a little trickery, Paul.
Known for it, but at this stage of the ball game with only a 3-point difference in the two teams and backed up on his side of the field, I doubt that Hayden would try something like that.
Play action. Airing it out as the quarterback. It is broken up inside the 20. Sean Smith, the intended receiver. Pelini was back deep. Pretty good coverage by the Buckeyes as Rogers unleashed a long bomb, throwing it some 45 or 50 yards.
Well, you see the Hawkeyes' first half possessions: TD, fumble, punt, field goal, TD, and turned it over on downs. So Hawkeyes are looking to get it geared up again here in the opening minutes of this second half.
13:05 to go, third quarter. And running the ball is Bell. He is stymied just across the line of scrimmage. He spun ahead for 1.5 yards, and that was it. Tom Lease throttled that play after a minimal gain. Greg Smith aided him. So it is third down now for Iowa and 8 yards to go for a first down. A sellout throng here at Kinnick Stadium on a sunny afternoon in Iowa City. And the natural grass field here at Kinnick Stadium in excellent condition. Play action. Rogers with time, can't find anybody. He scampers for the yardage, but only gets a couple. Rich Frimmel tripped him up. And Iowa's now confronted with 4th and 6 or 7 yards to go for a first down.
That is what you would term, Jack, a coverage sack, because Matt Rogers really was scanning the field, but he couldn't find anyone open, and Rich Frimmel, hustling on the play, came off of his block and tripped up Rogers.
Cram back deep for Ohio State inside the 25 to catch the punt from Hysack. End over end. Graham at the 24, dancing a little bit. Eludes one Hawkeye, another skirts the end, gets to the 36. and is flushed out of bounds at that point. 11 minutes and 36 seconds to go in the third quarter. Good field position for Ohio State on their second series of the second half. Buckeyes operating against the wind. Commence this drive following the Iowa punt from the OSU 35. Long cadence by Frey. This is Scotty Graham trudging for a couple or three, that's all. Rod Davis and John Derby teamed up to subdue Graham. Second down and 8 for the Buckeyes from their own 37. Graham split right. Stabline is in. He's flanked to Frey's left, out of your picture to the bottom of the screen. Play action. Frey still has it. Zips it on a hop in the middle of the field to Stabline. It's incomplete. Well, you can't blame that one on the wind, that's for sure.
Well, the Buckeyes had Stabline coming in on the square end from left to right. They also had Jeff Graham going deep. Stabline appeared to be open on the play. It was not one of Greg Frey's better throws of the afternoon. Buckeyes are 2 out of 8 on third down. They have not really been very sharp in this category. Iowa obviously applying pressure will be coming.
Jim Coletto sent in the play with Olive. 3rd and 7. Buckeyes batting 25% on third down. A rollout by Frey to Graham, wide of the mark. Excellent defensive coverage by Iowa. So some fine defensive series turned in by these two teams as we begin the second half of play.
Greg Frey on the sidelines talking with receivers coach Gene Huey, trying to figure out how they can penetrate this Iowa pass defense.
Bowman to take the long snap from his 22. Nearly blocked. He gets it away, and it's an outstanding kick. Antla signals for a fair catch, hoping the ball will bounce on into the end zone, but instead the Buckeyes corral it at the 6. Iowa will start from that spot, 1st and 10. 10:39 to go in the third quarter, which so far, Paul, has turned into a period in which these two teams are kind of jockeying for field position, like two heavyweight boxers feeling each other out, waiting for the moment to go for the knockout punch.
Neither team offensively has been able to generate very much. Defenses have played well, but the Ohio State kicking game with Jeff Bowman has simply been outstanding.
The Hawkeyes start just beyond their own 5. This is Bell trying to cut it back, and he is slowed down just a yard across the line of scrimmage. His progress was impeded by Derek Foster, who played his high school football in Dayton. Well, you can't say the Buckeyes defensively have mastered Iowa's running game yet, but they're certainly doing a much better job this half, Paul.
The second half, they certainly have slowed down those running backs of Bell and Stewart. Iowa's made very little on the ground thus far.
Let's see what's up Rogers' sleeve on 2nd and 9. It is Bell outside left tackle, and he is tripped up at the 12. Steve Tovar got a big piece of him. So it's 3rd coming and about 5. Good tackle by Tovar. Each team struggling, converting 1st down and 3rd down this afternoon.
In the last series, the Buckeyes were 2 of 8. Iowa not much better. They're 2 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. And so the Hawkeyes also, as you said, Jack, struggling in this area.
Bell, the man in motion. Pass over the middle, complete. No, it's dropped at the 18. Good hit applied on the intended receiver, Brent Johnson. Belted the man for whom the ball was intended. Michael Titley, the tight end. Rogers' throw was on the money, but solid defense by Ohio State.
Again, another fine performance by the Buckeye defensive unit. Ohio State will have an opportunity to get this football on the punt exchange in great position, field position.
High sack in his end zone, scoops up the snap off the turf. Good kick, sending Graham to the sideline. He drops it. It goes out of bounds. Thank goodness. Ohio State football at the Buckeyes 48. 9:12 left in this third period. Iowa leads the Buckeyes by 3, 17-14. It was a twisting kick by High sack, and it seemed to curve away from Graham a little bit.
High sack placed the punt in a very strategic position, kicking towards the sidelines. He got the ball downfield as far as he possibly could, but over close towards the Ohio State sideline, not giving Jeff Graham very much room to run the football or return it.
Again, excellent field position for the Buckeyes, who've started beyond their 33 times in a row in this half. Robert Smith, after taking the pitch, is dropped for a yard setback. Maria Crane smelled out that play and put a damper on that running effort. It goes for a -1, 2nd and 11. Well, Robert Smith lost a yard on that play. He still needs how many, Paul, to catch Archie?
He's right now 9 out of 39, and he needs 30 yards to catch Archie Griffin.
This is Smith again, and he stepped ahead for about 4, leaving the Buckeyes a good 6 or 7 short of a first down. Mike Wells from his nose guard position made the tackle on Smith, who exits. Dante Lee is in. And Ohio State faced with another critical 3rd down situation. Bucks must get to the Hawkeyes 42. 8 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Iowa leading by 3. Frey's in trouble. Somehow he escapes. Overthrows Graham. Boy, Johnson, 71, was breathing down Frey's back. Leroy Smith was in pursuit as well.
Iowa crowding the line with the all-out maximum blitz. Greg Frey after his play-action fake. Boy, he just sees a host of black jerseys. Miraculously, he escapes. Doesn't really have time to set himself to throw the football. He does all he can do to get the pass off. Buckeyes will have to punt.
Bowman at his 35. And he pops this one up short. It hits inside the 25, trickles to the 20, and Iowa will start from that point, 1st and 10, 7. The crowd here at Kinnick Stadium, attired in a lot of black and gold, and you see a few scarlet and gray sweaters blending among the Iowa partisans. There has been just a single first down recorded in this half, and that by Ohio State. A run by Robert Smith went for 11 yards. As the Buckeyes defense tries to put the clamps on Iowa, which starts from its own 20 following Bowman's punt. And the Ohio State running back picks his way, or I should say the Iowa running back picks his way. Lou Montgomery, who performed extremely well in the 2nd quarter, is back in. He found a seam in that Ohio State defense. Foster Polk made the tackle.
Montgomery, the down back or the fullback, slides off the initial contact and keeps his legs going and makes nice yardage, about 8 yards on the attempt. We saw him on the other side of the field when Iowa gets inside of the 20, but this time Iowa going to him early.
Tony Stewart has got a couple. That's just about what he needed for a first down. Rich Frimmel stopped him right on the 30. And he is a foot shy of first down yardage. Iowa still yet to get a first down in this half. Buckeyes with only 1. And it may be 3rd down conversions which determine the outcome of this game. They're popping up quite frequently now.
Neither team has been very successful, and Iowa down on the backside of that equation. They made 2 out of 7 attempts.
Boy, I tell you, the Hawkeye tailback did not find much room, but he may have wedged out just enough. Tovar and Lee stood him up. Boy, it's close. Very close. Ohio State defense against the run extremely stingy this half.
Ohio State defense has been playing excellent football.
And the chain is extended, and it is short by about 6 inches. Ohio State has held. I don't think Hayden Fry has much of a choice here but to punt it away, Paul.
Well, immediately he is sending in the kicking team as, again, the Ohio State defensive unit rises to the occasion and has stopped this Iowa running game very effectively here in the early moments of the second half.
So the Hawkeyes have had a trio of possessions in the third period. No first downs to show for the offense. High sack, end over end kick. Graham from his 29 tries to streak up the middle, has a little bit of an avenue, and plowed to the 38. And the Buckeyes will start 1st and 10 with 6:09 remaining in the third quarter. The Bucks still trail the Hawkeyes by 3, 17-14. Ted Faley was the man who raced downfield to make the tackle. Hawkeyes scored first in this game. Buckeyes retaliated to tie it. And then the Hawkeyes scored 10 unanswered points. A touchdown by Montgomery following a field goal. And then the immaculate reception turned in by Fry and Graham on the last play of the first half. And that's where we stand. It's been a stalemate since. Play action, Fry still in possession. Penalty marker down. Olive out of bounds, was hit pretty well. No catch on the play. From the sight of the flag, I think holding, and that's what it is. Boy, Iowa's defense, Paul, is also digging in and taking a toe hold.
Well, we've seen this ball game, certainly in the early moments of the third quarter, progress into somewhat of a defensive struggle. In total yards this half, as you can see, Ohio State 19, Iowa 17, so the defenses are not giving up very much.
So following the 10-yard assessment for holding, the Buckeyes have a 1st and 20 from their own 28. The Buckeyes must get out to the 48 for a first down. 6:03 left in this third quarter. Graham and Olive flanked to the left. Scotty Graham and Robert Smith are behind Fry. This is Robert Smith. Another flag flies. Smith got 2 yards, that's all. He was crunched by John Derby. And I think it's against Ohio State again. I'm wrong again. Maybe for once the Hawkeyes have been caught lining up off sides.
And as you can see, number 8 perhaps, Leroy Smith, who was going on the blitz, might have gotten a little bit ahead of himself.
He might have. I don't know if he's the one who beat the snap or not, Paul. I think somebody might have been in the neutral zone with a helmet.
You could pick any one of those interior linemen who are lining up awfully close in the neutral zone, and perhaps it could have been Matt Rulin, the left tackle.
Buckeyes have complained about Iowa lining up defensively offside as they are right now in the person of Johnson, the defensive right tackle.
He seems clearly on that rush right there that he's in the neutral zone.
Oh, he had his helmet beyond the football. Scotty Graham could only nudge forward for a couple yards. Melvin Foster in there on the stop for Iowa. It doesn't appear to be occurring on every play, but quite often Iowa has a tackle lining up with a helmet hovering virtually right over the football, or at least our line of sight would indicate such. 2nd and 13 for Ohio State. Fry stumbling into the pocket, regained his balance, screens it over the head of Smith. Boy, it's amazing how much the defenses are dominating this football game.
Greg Frey has a little bit of problem pulling out. He may have tripped over his center, Dan Beatty, or either his left guard right there. As you see, as his foot is caught right by, I believe, number 76, Dan Beatty, the center, as Greg Frey attempts to pull out. He's not ruled down, and so amazingly, he gets back to his feet and gets that play off. It's an incompletion as he had tried to screen to Robert Smith.
Split back formation, 2 receivers to Frey's left. Frey stepping up, zipping it for Olive. A fine catch by Olive. He's nailed at the 45, but it's a big gainer and a first down. Bobby Olive soared high into the air to snare the football thrown from Frey.
Big play by Greg Frey back in the pocket. Good protection. Throws a square in over the middle high, but Olive goes up, makes a fingertip catch. Stopped on the play by Polly and Wise, but a first down for the Buckeyes. Bobby Olive, only 2 receptions, but that was a big one right there.
Ohio State's second first down of this half. Iowa has none. This is Robert Smith. Goes right, cuts left, surges for 4 or 5. A flag thrown on the play. John Derby tackled the ball carrier. I've been wrong every time, so I'm not going to figure out who it is. It's Ohio State this time. And that wipes out a good first down effort by Smith. Four minutes and 17 seconds left, third quarter, clock stopped. 1st and 15 for Ohio State from the 50. Olive and Graham split left and right. This is Robert Smith. He's got an avenue. Flags again all over the place. Smith is dropped at the 44. Melvin Foster on the hit. Len Hartman may have been the culprit, charged with holding. Jim Johnson of Iowa may have been held by Hartman. John Cooper a little perplexed as to why now the penalties are starting to mount against the Scarlet and Gray. So the Buckeyes are going in reverse and are now confronted with 1st and 25.
All right, on the running play, you're going to see number 52, Lynn Hartman, as Robert Smith goes by him. He's got a hold of 71 right there. Jim Johnson, the all Big Ten tackle. And Buckeyes are penalized for holding on the play.
Frey has time, and he throws it wide of the mark, intended inside the 50 for Jeff Graham. Graham turned in on a hitch pattern. Eddie Polly was on the coverage, and Frey and Graham just simply could not hook up. Hawkeye fans have their game faces on today. The Hawks with just 1 setback coming into the game on the season. 5-0 in conference play. Smith and Bell just 1/10 of a yard apart on the afternoon as Frey fires for Graham, and again he misses him. In fairness to Frey, Jeff Graham slipped as he made his cut and could not get back to where the ball was targeted. Ohio State with 3rd and long coming up.
Well, the Buckeyes, again, as we said before, like Iowa, have not been very successful with 3rd down conversions. Ohio State now successfully 3 out of 11 chances. Greg Frey 6 out of 21, and those figures are not very impressive.
Buckeyes need 25 yards, must get to the 35 of Iowa. Frey's in some trouble, has a man in the right flat, but misses Graham. As Frey unloaded a bit too far out in front of Scotty Graham, and Iowa's defense comes on. Ohio State will have to punt it. Bowman back at his 25 to take the long snap. Hawkeyes have their return on. Antla from the 23 hops around a little bit, and then he's smacked down. Lease got a piece of him initially. Then Borchers, who's been downfield several times on punt coverage today, finished off the return man, Antla, at the 24.
Again, I want to emphasize Jeff Bowman. His punting here in the third quarter has been just short of sensational. That time he had a very high-hanging kick, allowing the coverage to get down and completely cover the return man. So the kicking game here in the third quarter has really been outstanding for the Buckeyes.
Iowa has yet to rack up a first down in this half. 1st and 10 from their own 24. Rogers, a deep drop, airs it out up the left side. Titley wide open, a big gainer across the 50.
This Titley is very impressive, Jack. He is a big fellow, but he has great mobility, and it's no small wonder now that he's the #2 receiver in this Iowa attack coming into today's ball game. He has enough speed for a big man to get deep, and he gets deep here in the left flat. He's wide open on the play, catches the ball very nicely, turning upfield for the big gainer for Iowa.
Rogers to go up top again, steps up into the pocket. He scampers for 4. Rich Frimmel was nipping at his heels. As Rogers got to the 44, in fact, it's marked back near the 45.
Well, Rogers got about 4 yards, 4.5, maybe 5 yards on that play, but Rich Frimmel made an outstanding play. Otherwise, Rogers would have gotten a lot more down the middle of the field.
He sure would have. So Iowa is in Ohio State territory for the first time in this half. 2nd and a short 7. Hawkeyes can get a first down at the 38. It's a draw play. Bell trying to spring it to the outside. He's breaking tackles, and he has first down yardage. Mark Pelini finally managed to collar him and drag him down, but it's a 1st and 10 for Iowa.
Again, Bell shows you a combination of finesse and power for a man his size. He takes this handoff on a draw play, tries to get outside, can't get outside, has the ability to cut back. He just swats off tacklers. Now this is the power phase of it as he takes Ohio State defender Mark Pelini for a little ride in the first down.
That's a good description, Paul. Blend of finesse and power being exhibited by Bell, that's for sure. Rogers zips it down the middle. Wide open receiver at the 15. Alan Cross catches Rogers' strike. Cross a backup tight end to Michael Titley.
Well, again, Matt Rogers electing to go to a tight end, and this time it's the backup tight end, Alan Cross, who had 5 catches coming into today's ball game. Good protection for Rogers down the middle of the field as Alan Cross, he makes a big gainer on the play. Mark Pelini stopped him.
From inside the 15, 1st and 10 for Rogers and company of Iowa. Fake to Bell, counter back to the near side, and the play goes nowhere. Lou Montgomery is dropped in his tracks by Alonzo Spellman, who stayed at home and alertly made that play for Ohio State.
Alonzo Spellman playing with a heavily bandaged left ankle, but he's hanging in there, playing it tough. Looks like he has lost a little bit of mobility, but he's not coming out of this ball game.
Paul, this is a big sequence of plays. Iowa leads but 3. A touchdown would give them a 2-score advantage. Buckeyes have got to stall Iowa and force a field goal. Rogers is in trouble, perhaps a broken play, and Cook and Simmons nail him for a setback of about 7 yards.
Well, I'm sure that Hayden Fry is not very happy with that broken play that occurred right there. Iowa doing a good job of moving the football for the very first time here. Rogers spins and turns, nobody there. And on the play, Jason Simmons right there along with Cook to drop him for a big loss. It's 3rd down and 15.
Rogers might have been looking for someone to pitch that forward shovel to.
Wasn't there, though.
Yeah, the traffic clogged it up. 3rd and 15, play action. Rogers down the middle. It's dropped in the end zone. An open receiver was Bell, but he coughed it up. He had it in his clutches and could not put it away.
Well, Nick Bell really wide open on the play. Fullback position, number 43 just lined up to the right. He will slide down the middle of the field. He is to be covered by the interior linebackers, Brent Johnson and Tovar, but he goes right by them. They don't stop him. Now Rogers finds Bell open. Bell momentarily has the football, but drops it.
37-yard field goal by Skillett. He hooks it from right to left, and it's good. 18 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Iowa now leads Ohio State by a score of 20-14.
You have to make plays, Jack, in a ball game, and that play probably will come back to haunt Iowa. Buckeyes hanging in this ball game, playing very well, and you know Ohio State has the capability offensively. They've shown that they can put some points on the board.
A big sequence of plays there, because had Iowa gotten 7, they would have surged on top by 10. Instead, the lead is just 6.
Well, again, you have to take your hat off to the Ohio State defense. They only yielded a 3-pointer, and that keeps this a Buckeye football team and the offense very much in this ball game.
Well, it's Greg Frey and Ohio.
They only yielded a 3-pointer, and that keeps this a Buckeye football team and the offense very much in this ball game.
Well, it's Greg Frey and Ohio State's turn now. In the battle of the quarterbacks, Rogers has had the better of it through 3 periods.
He is 11 completions on 17 tries, 126 yards. Greg Frey, 22 attempts, just 6 completions, 125 yards and 1 TD.
Here's the kickoff by Skillett, who's 2 of 2 on field goal tries today. Dante Lee scampering up the right side, zipping out across the 40 to the 41. A superb kickoff return by Dante Lee. Tackle made on the play by Jason Olensack.
Dante Lee moving very well to the football, has done a super job all afternoon of returning these kicks, picking his way very nicely. Olensack takes Dante down quite hard, but the Buckeyes start at the 41-yard line. You couldn't ask for a much better return than that.
Looked like he used the wedge pretty well, slithering right down the line of blocking made by that wedge. Ohio State out at the 41 with a first down. 11 ticks on the clock remaining in the 3rd quarter. Robert Smith goes nowhere. Number 8 comes off the pile again, as he has numerous times this afternoon. Jeff Nelson, the first man to greet Robert Smith, as the 3rd quarter comes to a close here at Kinnick Stadium. Iowa 20, Ohio State 14.
Education for all seasons. The Ohio State University.
With Paul Warfield, this is Jack Kramer at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. 4th quarter play starting. Buckeyes have a 2nd down and 10 from their own 41. trailing by 6, 20-14. Frey on the sprint out, fires. It is nearly intercepted. Iowa, on at least 3 occasions today, has come close to the pickoff of Frey. This time, Gary Clark, number 19.
Well, Gary Clark read that all the way. He got the jump on Greg Frey, was in between Frey and the receiver, but he couldn't find the handle again. So Iowa's had 3 opportunities this afternoon. You're absolutely right, Jack, but they haven't been able to make the play.
Iowa's defense has been putting the heat on Greg Frey.
Frey's been under tremendous pressure, which equates to his poor percentage of completion today.
3rd and 10. Buckeyes have 2 receivers split left. Frey in trouble. Eludes one man, dishes it off into the right flat. It falls harmlessly incomplete. Jeff Nelson, 93, was bothering Frey. 4th down, a punting situation.
I don't know how Greg Frey does this, but miraculously, he almost got out of that one. It was an all-out blitz. All the lanes were sealed, and Greg Frey somehow squeezed through a crack. But number 93, Jeff Nelson, will finally bring him down. Here comes the blitz and all the pressure right up the middle. Frey nearly escapes it, but 93 pulls him down, but he manages to get the throw off, and it's a pass that's incomplete.
With the wind, Bowman gets away. Another excellent kick over the head of Antla, and it scoots on through the end zone. Iowa will start 1st and 10 from its own 20 with 14:41 to go in the 4th period. Well, as you accurately alluded to at the beginning of the program, Paul, you mentioned that the key to this game would be the battle in the trenches. And as the afternoon has worn on, the Buckeye offensive line has had a real juggernaut on its hands in terms of this Iowa defensive front. It's giving them fits.
Well, it is, and vice versa. The Ohio State defensive front, Greg Smith, Rich Fremmel, and Alonzo Spellman are acquitting themselves also, as far as Ohio State is concerned, as they've made it very difficult for Iowa to run the football.
You're so right. Another big series for the Ohio State defense. This is Stewart trying to turn the corner. And he pedaled for about 6 on the play. 2nd and 4 coming up. Vinnie Clark from his cornerback post came up to provide support against the run. Well, the Buckeye defense now is at a point in this game, down by 6, where it cannot give up any more points on the board. Stewart is rolled down just across the line of scrimmage. A late flag is tossed in by the official. Steve Tovar put the clamps on the ball carrier. Oh, it's a face mask against Ohio State. Well, at least the last 3 penalties have gone against the Scarlet and Gray.
Ooh.
And whereas without the penalty, Iowa would have a big 3rd down ahead of them, it's a 1st and 10 out beyond the 40. A very critical penalty and a costly one going against Ohio State. Hawkeyes are given a 1st and 10 with 13:47 left in the 4th period. Titley, the tight end, on the left. This is Stewart. He totes it ahead for about 10 or 11 and a 1st down. Mark Williams for Ohio State managed to drag down the ball carrier. But it's a 1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes.
Well, Iowa just keeps coming at you with that run game, and where the Buckeyes had effectively shut off Bell, now they're going with Stewart, and his style of running is proving to be successful now in this series as Iowa's starting to get something generated running the football again. 2 different kinds of backs running the football. Bell, a big power runner who has the finesse, but Stewart, a slashing runner.
This is Stewart. He cuts it back and surges to the 34. Another 1st down for Iowa. Mark Pellini and Foster Polk make the tackle in the secondary. Fine execution along the line of scrimmage by Iowa's up front people, paving the way for Stewart.
Stewart now 10 attempts and 50 yards. This series in particular proving to be more effective than he has at any time in the ball game.
I formation for Iowa. This is Stewart dancing around the corner, is popped out of bounds. Good hit planted on the ball carrier by Foster Polk. Hayden Fry sending in the play on 2nd and 9. Hawkeyes must get to the 24.5 for a first down. Now Stewart moves into the slot on the right. And a lone setback is behind the quarterback, Rogers, who sets up to throw, has it knocked out of his hands from behind. It looked like it was a blitzing Brian Cook, number 29, who sliced through and got a piece of the quarterback's arm.
The Buckeyes electing to go with the blitz that time. Surprise maneuver from the right, lower right corner of your screen. Brian Cook from the stand-up position comes right around almost free as the tight end Titley tries to block him, but Brian Cook gets a piece of Matt Rogers' arm as he's attempting to deliver the football, forcing Iowa to come up to a third down possession.
Third down and a little more than 8 needed for Iowa. Right up the middle, rambling inside the 25 to the 20, Lou Montgomery. An explosive run by Montgomery. Jimmy Peel tackled Montgomery in the secondary.
From the end zone shot ground level, as you see Lou Montgomery go through a big hole, getting into the Ohio State secondary very quickly, and a big first down for Iowa.
Hawkeyes are now within Skillett's field goal range. Stewart on the draw. He carves out about 6 more yards to the 15. Jason Simmons upset Stewart. Foster Polk was knocked to the turf, shaken up a little bit, perhaps just dazed.
From the split back formation, Matt Rogers on a draw play will hand to Tony Stewart, and Stewart rams Foster Polk. Polk still down, taking one knee as he's being administered to by the Ohio State training staff, and now he's being led from the field, and looks like he's walking under his own power and is fully aware of everything, but Ohio State trainer is electing to take him out. He's replaced by Lance Price.
Well, Iowa has expanded their running back duo into a trio of runners today, Paul.
Well, Lou Montgomery has come on for 9 tries and 58 yards, I believe it is, Jack, and so he's been very effective too, rushing in the second half.
This is Stewart trying to pop it to the outside, a first down and then some to the 7. Mark Pellini chased him to the sideline, but it's a 1st and goal for Iowa.
Again, Stewart lined up in the I formation will take this handoff and following Lou Montgomery, but then he breaks to daylight to the outside, gets outside, forced out of bounds on the play by Mark Pellini, but Stewart did not run the design hole, which was right over center and guard, but elected to skip outside and make yardage.
Hughes in motion for Iowa. This is Stewart again, and he crunches out about 7 yards down to the goal line, just short of it. Tovar got in his path, keeping Stewart from reaching pay dirt. It will be 2nd and goal from 1 foot away.
That was a determined run by Tony Stewart as he was met by Tovar up in the hole. Stewart on this drive, he has 8 rushes and 51 yards, proving to be very effective. Watch as he will follow the block of Lou Montgomery going straight up the middle. Tovar will come from his middle linebacking position right up to the hole.
This is Bell plowing to the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa. It's Montgomery 34 and not Bell for the 6 points, and the Hawkeyes lead is 26-14.
Well, as we said before, Jack, they like to use Montgomery down inside, but this is the play before. Well, watch Stewart hit by Tovar, and Tovar can't bring him down, but needs some help and assistance as Stewart was met at about the 4, but took him down to the 1. Now, this is the touchdown play with Montgomery, who is the guy who gets it across the goal line for him. Montgomery scoring the 2nd time today.
And the Hawkeyes, leading by 12, are going for 2 to try to make it a 14-point advantage. It's a pitch back to Hughes, running wide, trying to skirt the corner. He is caught at the 5 and does not get in. Alert play by Rich Frimmel. He, along with Jim Peel, fenced in the ball carrier. So Iowa stopped on the 2-point conversion. 11 minutes to go in this game. Iowa 26, Ohio State 14. The Buckeyes now find themselves in a position where they need 7 points, and preferably on this possession as Skillett, after having teed it up, sends it to Robert Smith at the 7 or 8. No, it's Butler Benote who zips back out to the 29. Diving downfield for the Hawkeyes was Marvin Lampkin, who got a piece of Benote and helped knock him off his wheels. So the Buckeyes, who have had a lackluster second half offensively, start from their own 29, 1st and 10. And Iowa has had the better of it on the ground this afternoon, especially here in the second half, Paul.
Further back, Stewart has 71 yards, Montgomery 58, Bell 74. And the Buckeyes, Smith 43, Graham 18, and Butler Benote just 19 yards.
Graham and Smith behind Frey. Play action to Smith. The pass in the flat. Catch is made on the play by Likovich. An advance of about 6 or 7 to the 36. Second down, a little more than 3 to go.
That's good yardage opening up on the 1st down. I'll take that and be satisfied with that very much at this point in the ball game.
Dante Lee is checked in. He dots the I behind Scotty Graham. Jeff Graham in motion across the formation. Frey unloads a bomb for Stabline, who cannot catch up to it inside the 15. And Stabline wanted a flag against a Hawkeye, Brian Wise. Looked like pretty good coverage from up here, Paul.
Pretty good coverage, but it's going to be holding. Stabline releasing and just will go straight downfield on the play, and Wise will be running with him step for step. Little bit of shoving going at that point, but right here is when Wise reaches up, goes for the ball, but I think the officials ruled that, you know, the ball was coming in at the point and Wise was really making a play on the ball.
Well, a flag was thrown.
Holding.
And it was not against Iowa in the secondary. It was a hold against Ohio State.
And Coach John Cooper conferring with the sideline official, asking, you know, what about, he looks like he's giving a motion towards, which would be indicative of a face mask, but his appeal is going on deaf ears over there.
So Iowa takes the infraction. It's 2nd and 13. Buckeyes get the play over again. Second down is preserved, but instead the Buckeyes need 13 yards for a 1st down. Frey on the sprint out is in a little hot water, screens it back to Robert Smith. He needs some interference, and he's closed off at the sideline at the 32.
Play had a lot of action, took a long time to develop. Iowa had some defenders that were right there in the vicinity as Greg Frey wants to screen to Robert Smith in the right flat. Opens up, fakes the ball to Smith, turns the other way as on a sprint out to the left, fakes the sprint out, turns back right, throws to Smith. But that play takes a lot of time to develop, and the players, offensive linemen for Ohio State, just cannot sustain their blocks long enough.
3rd and 8 for Ohio State. The Buckeyes must get to the 39 for a first down. Frey is sacked at the 22. Matt Rulin does the job. He blanketed Frey behind the line.
Well, Matt Rulin simply just overpowered Lynn Hartman on that play, ran right over him and threw him right to Greg Frey. Greg Frey setting up to throw the football here, and you'll see that he can't get the pass off as number 57 comes in and hits him with a jolting tackle.
Bowman inside his 10 to take the snap. He'll have the wind at his back. And he arches this one to Antla at the 23. He's got a path up the middle, but the Buckeyes trap him and drop him at the 32. Huffman made the stop. I believe a flag was tossed near the side of the tackle. We have 9 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the ball game. Iowa leading by 12, and a discussion ensues among the officials. Let's see what results. Illegal block on the return by Iowa. Eddie Polley shoved a Buckeye in the back. And Iowa will start from its own 23. 9:15 left, fourth quarter. The Buckeyes now, Paul, are in need of a big-time turnover.
It would be very timely at this spot on the field if Ohio State can create a turnover.
I formation for Rogers and the Hawkeyes. This is Stewart trying to cut back against the grain, and knifing in is Judah Herman to get the angle on him and spill him after a 2-yard advantage to the 25. 9 minutes even left in this fourth quarter. Buckeyes trail by 12. Iowa must reach the 33 for a first down. Montgomery and Stewart behind the quarterback. They're split. This is Montgomery, and he drives to the 31. Jay Cook on the tackle. He rambled for about 5 yards, Paul, before he met any resistance from Ohio State. Iowa's offensive front just opened up a big opening.
Montgomery and also Stewart are runners that are characterized by style in which they don't necessarily run the designed hole. They will continue to find daylight wherever they can, and they will take the back door, cut back. That time, Montgomery did a good job of cutting back.
3rd and 2, a keeper by Rogers. He lunged to about the 33, very close to the first down stake. Jason Simmons shut Rogers down. I think he's a little bit short. 7:47 left in this game. Well, if Iowa does get the first down here, they'll have it for at least 3 more plays in another couple of minutes or so.
Well, I think you're right, Jack. He's going to come up a little bit short, and it'll be an interesting call that Hayden Frey will have to make. Will he take the risk or the chance at this point in the ball game, or will he rely on his defense, simply punt the ball and rely on his defense that's played awfully well?
Well, their defense has stymied Ohio State this half, and I'm sure that Hayden Frey will put the onus in the back of his defense once again to get the job done.
Well, you called that one right, because they are coming onto the field of play as Hayden Frey is not going to elect to gamble, as he's been accused of being a gambler so often in his career, but he's going to go with the odds on this one.
High sack at his 18 to take the snap. Jeff Graham needs a long punt return here. He's backed up inside his 35. A low snap, and the Buckeyes block it. It's bounding free inside the 25. Iowa picks it up and scampers back out across the 35 to the 40. A loose football. Who's got it? Finally, Ohio State scoops it up. And let's see where possession will lie. At some point in time, that pigskin could not be advanced. Foster Polk was the man who got both hands on the ball as he shot through and blocked Hysak's kick.
Buckeyes really crowding the line of scrimmage. 10 men all-out rush. Benny Clark and Tim Walton are the people who get there first. And the punt is blocked, I believe, by Foster Polk. And at that point, loose ball. Another look at the approach. And the kick, and number 22, Foster Polk, right there as he gets it. Benny Clark also right there applying the pressure.
So from the 24, 1st and 10 Ohio State. Inside handoff to Robert Smith. He carves out 3. Rod Davis plugged up what small hole there was. I think the ruling on that blocked punt, Paul, is that if it's blocked and is behind the line of scrimmage, the offense cannot advance it. I believe that is the ruling. That could only have been advanced by Iowa had it been downfield.
Well, the Buckeyes created their own break that we were talking about. Now the offense has to take advantage of it and do it pretty quickly right here.
We're down to 6:48 to go in this game. Buckeyes have 2 timeouts remaining, 3 seconds on the play clock. Sprint out by Frey, trying to hook up with Graham, and again, John Derby, number 31, the Iowa linebacker, torments Ohio State's offense as he swats down the football.
Well, it's a good thing that John Derby did swat that football down, because if Greg Frey would have fit that one in between all those Iowa defenders, he would have been miraculous. Greg Frey raising up, obviously, to audible out of the play that was called in the line of scrimmage, circulating the information to all of his mates before throwing that last pass.
Ohio State must reach the 14 for a first down. It's 3rd and 7, split backs, Graham and Smith. Frey throwing, it is caught, touchdown, Bobby Olive. Olive slipped along an Iowa defender. It appeared as though Paulie used his body to help screen off the Iowa man, and he tucked the ball away for 6 points.
Well, it was Merton Hanks, their best defender over there, and he was in the vicinity, but Olive came up with a miraculous catch, as he has done so many times in his career at Ohio State. As you see, Greg Frey throwing the ball right as over the outstretched hands of Hanks, and yet Olive having the great concentration and poise to take the ball in for the 6-pointer.
Herb Street to hold, extra point try coming up, and it is on the way by Williams and perfect. So with 6:34 left in this game, Ohio State has closed within 5. The Buckeyes, Paul, have now put themselves in position to overtake Iowa if they can score one more touchdown in this game. Preceding drive finished off on the touchdown aerial from Frey to Olive. Hughes and Antla, the kickoff return men. As Williams, with the wind, steers it short. Garnered at the 10 by Hughes, who picks his way to the 23, and he is smacked at that spot.
All right, let's look at that touchdown again, and a big one for Ohio State. Greg Frey operating out of the quarterback position with 2 receivers set to the right part of your screen in a split backfield. He will go to Bobby Olive, working against number 45, Merton Hanks, on a slant-in pass over the middle. Hanks in pretty good position, but a great catch, great throw. Ohio State finds itself right back in this ball game, down by just 5 points with that touchdown reception of Bobby Olive's.
And coming out throwing is Rogers. Wide open in the middle of Montgomery, but a neat tackle by Cook, who tied him up and dropped him at the 31. Well, if Cook misses the hit there, the play goes for 15. 6:10 and counting. Fourth period. Iowa leads 26-21. Price and Clark at the corners for Ohio State. This is Bell. He picks his way, and he plowed to the 35. He got 4 yards and a first down +1. Tovar submerged him at the 35, but Bell went down fairly easily after he knew he got first down yardage. Ohio State has 2 timeouts remaining, Iowa 3. Iowa's program had not been very successful until Hayden Fry came on the scene. This is Bell looking for a spot to run, and he hopped for 3. Ken Coleman slowed him down short of the 40 as we near the 5-minute mark. Well, it's right now, Paul. The Buckeyes have got to thwart Iowa and force a punt and give the offense 3.5 minutes with which to work.
They've got to play it very tough here in this second down situation. Play the run as tough as possible. Force Iowa to throw the football on third down.
Split backs are Montgomery and Bell. Rogers wants to throw, looking. Too much time. It is intercepted by Lance Price, who scurries back to the 44. Oh, when you throw late over the middle, Paul, bad things can happen.
Well, the Buckeyes did a very good job of taking away what Matt Rogers wanted to go to in the very shorter zones. He wanted to throw a short, safe pass, but the Buckeyes, everything covered at this point. Now he finds number 87, Alan Cross, over the middle, and he elects to throw to him late. As you see right there, Lance Price goes right in front of number 87, Alan Cross, and makes a key interception, giving Ohio State exactly what it needs, the football in ideal field position.
Hayden Fry a little anxious now on the Iowa sideline. Once leading by 12 minutes ago, Iowa now leads by only 5, and Ohio State's got the ball, and the reception is made by Olive. Mr. Reliable, Bobby Olive, turns in one more fine catch. Eddie Polly upended Olive in midair, but Olive hung on.
Well, he made a great catch, but Greg Frey had his choice of either Bobby Olive coming across or Likovich going deep. Now, Olive goes high, makes the reception, is wrapped very hard by Eddie Polly, but Ohio State is on the move. The Buckeyes going closer to the Iowa goal.
Scotty Graham and Robert Smith behind Fry. This is Robert Smith trying to spring it. He chugged for 3 yards, and that was all, as he ran into a couple of Hawkeyes, John Derby and Matt Ruland. Under 4 minutes to go in this game. Buckeyes do have 2 timeouts left. Second down coming up in about 7. But Ohio State has been productive this half, Paul. It's been through the air. The yards have been tough to come by on the ground. Olive and Graham flank far left. Fry optioning. He's hog-tied, eludes a Hawkeye, and then is dropped. Derby and Johnson corralled him at the 35. As so many times, Fry has extricated himself from trouble, but not here.
Well, a lot of Hawkeyes pursuing the ball, notably number 71, Jim Johnson, an outstanding defensive lineman, and he's backed up by a host of Iowa Hawkeye defenders. And you take a look at the sacks, 3 hurries, 6 tip balls, 3. Iowa has had a harassing defense all afternoon long, and this may be the big play of the ball game coming up here on third down.
Buckeyes must get inside the 20 for a first down. Fry needs 16. It's too high, intended for Smith down the middle at the 25. Maria Crane had dropped back downfield from his linebacking post in pass coverage. Even if Smith caught it, he would have had to turn and go downfield 6 or 7 yards to get the first down.
Well, Greg Frey has no one really to throw to. Iowa does a good job of defending on the play, and Greg Frey comes off his receivers. But as you said right there, it was 31, John Derby, really, who went up high and tipped the football. Buckeyes calling timeout here. They're going to discuss this. 4th down situation.
Well, when play resumes, the Buckeyes will need 16 yards. 2:39 left in the 4th stanza. Buckeyes trail Iowa by 5, 26-21. Iowa's defense came into this game, Paul, ranked number 1 in the Big Ten in terms of total defense, giving up only 310 yards a contest, good enough for 25th in the country. And they played well this afternoon.
They have. They've applied a tremendous amount of pressure on Greg Frey. He has not been able to consistently set up and throw the football with his feet planted. He is having to throw on the run, having to step up in the pocket and throw, and his accuracy today has been down because he's been under such pressure. But nevertheless, Greg has made the key plays, and he's going to have to make a key play in this situation as we come up with 4th down. It's not ideal because the Buckeyes need 16 yards. They're going into the shorter part of the field. There's not much room and area to throw in. So this is going to have to be a key call and key execution by Ohio State.
Well, Frey has thrown the ball 25 times this afternoon.
And he has 173 yards. Completions, as I said before, the percentages are down. Ohio State 5 out of 9 on the conversions, as you see right there.
That was a 4th down conversion rate on the season, 5 of 9, and this is a 4th down right here. Bucks need 16. It's caving in around Frey, who unleashes toward the end zone, intercepted in the end zone. Jason Olenczak. Olenczak, 13, dashed in front of Edwards and picked it off.
Well, Olenczak makes the interception right there, and the Hawkeyes are ecstatic about it, but if he could have, perhaps, if he would have batted it down, that's his 3rd interception of the season. The Hawkeyes may have gotten even better field position, but I guess they're not going to argue with it. They've got the ball on the 20-yard line.
Well, that's a good observation, Paul. Their field position would have been better by a good 15 yards or so.
Well, the Buckeyes still can make it happen. They've got to stop them cold right here. They may have to use up a couple of timeouts, but they've got to play it tough.
This is Stewart. Stewart got nothing, as that play was simply a time user by Iowa.
Well, this is a look at the interception that just gave the ball back to the Hawkeyes. Greg Frey having to go up, step up, as he's had so many times today, throwing the ball over the middle for Bernard Edwards, but Olenczak, playing back in deep center field as a safety, is there to make the interception. Edwards, the man who the pass was intended for, can only make the tackle in the end zone.
Keep in mind, the Buckeyes have just 1 timeout remaining, having used one early in this half. Stewart is in trouble. He's hemmed in, bottled up, and dropped back at the 15. 1:43 and counting. Bucks have a timeout left. They just about have to use it. The backs are against the wall. It's 3rd and 15 for Iowa.
They got to use it.
Well, that is some statistic. No one in the conference has ever beaten Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois, and Ohio State in a year.
Well, in the same year, Iowa trying to accomplish that feat here today. Buckeyes, of course, hoping to keep them from allowing that to happen.
The quick hitter goes for just a yard. Ohio State must stop it before the 4th down punt, and they do. The clock is halted at 1:04. Jason Simmons put the clamps on the ball carrier, forcing a 4th and 14 for Iowa. 64 seconds to go, and Ohio State is out of timeouts.
Well, we go back to that earlier timeout, Jack. First part of the first half, second half, that is, that the Buckeyes had to use because they couldn't get the playoff in time. They had an extra man on the field, and you almost can predict that when you utilize a timeout like that in a game that is tough like as this one, that down late in the ball game is going to come back to haunt you. That's one timeout that they certainly could have used in that series right there to have stopped the clock even sooner on 2 times.
That sure is. That's Bucks with no timeouts remaining. Would like to have had that timeout they used in the 3rd quarter back to expend here in the last minute of this game, but they don't have it. Movement along the line of scrimmage. Contact made by Ohio State. It will not give Iowa a first down. Hawkeyes needed some 14 yards. But boy, the last several penalties have gone against Ohio State.
Bullshit, he doesn't ever play. You don't know what it is anyway.
So from the 21, it's 4th and 9 for Iowa.
Well, you might say it's just 5 yards, but yet it gets that Iowa punter out of the end zone.
It does. You're right. Hawkeyes need all the breathing room they can get. Hysack now is just beyond his 5. Bucks are coming. Nearly got it again. Fair catch Graham at the 48. So the Buckeyes have 48 yards, no timeouts, 59 seconds. A field goal does Ohio State no good. The Buckeyes are down 5. Hayden Fry strolling along the Iowa sideline, and the Hawkeyes have had their share of cliffhangers, and they've won them all this year.
Well, it's all left up to Greg Frey and the Ohio State offense to put it together on this series. They're going to have to do it with passing game. Frey 10 out of 31 up to this point, and he's going to have to throw accurately, and people are going to have to get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Olive, Edwards, and Graham are split. Here comes the blitz. Frey in the middle of the field has a receiver. Olive, a Hawkeye's on his back. Olive is wrestled down at the 25. The clock has stopped momentarily as the first down chain is advanced. Gary Clark was ridden down, or I should say he rode down Bobby Olive, who again turned in a superb catch. Buckeyes 25 yards away from the end zone. Frey in the pocket, shoots it in the middle for Graham. It is a reception at the 18. The clock is running. Buckeyes can't stop it.
Yeah, well, Greg Frey will have to stop it with just a quick throw. This is taking too much time. He needs to stop the clock right now.
Frey to the air. Intended for Graham outside the 10, 20 seconds to go. .20 seconds remaining. Buckeyes have a 3rd and 4. Keep in mind, a short completion earning Ohio State a first down would stop the clock momentarily.
John Cooper biting his nails right there. He's very much into this ball game, which you could term aptly as a nail biter.
That's been every bit of that. 20 seconds to go. Buckeyes are on the Iowa 18. 3rd and 4 for a first down. Buckeyes have no timeouts remaining. Split backs. Frey looking for Graham inside the 10, down to the 2. The clock will stop at 13 seconds. It is a first down. Melvin Foster made the tackle.
His options here is to try to stop the clock, throw one away very quickly to stop the clock, and then get back and call.
Clock is running again. The pass for Graham, incomplete in the corner of the end zone.
The Buckeyes will have at most one play.
7 seconds to go. The Buckeyes can't put it on the ground. It's got to be a forward pass. Maybe, Paul, they could get 2 aerials away.
On 2 occasions, although this could have been a touchdown right here. The throw, although there's pretty good coverage over there. But in 2 occasions, the Buckeyes have not elected to just use a play to stop the clock quickly, to stop that clock from running.
2 receivers flanked right, Graham and Olive, 7 seconds to go. 2nd and goal. Frey on a sprint out in the end zone. Olive, a great catch. Buckeyes take the lead.
Bedlam has occurred here. Bobby Olive, who's made the clutch catches all along. John Cooper trying to signal his Buckeyes to get off the field because there's 1 second remaining on the clock. This ball game officially is not over yet. Hayden Frey, dejective. Olive, elation. Great catch in the end zone.
Keep in mind, a second remains. A flag was thrown as jubilation was occurring on the field.
Replay with 2 receivers to the right side in the right corner of your screen. Olive will run a slant in him over the middle. Greg Frey stopping after the sprint out and finding Olive. Olive catches the football miraculously with his body outstretched, but keeps his feet in the end zone.
The touchdown, of course, stands. There is a penalty, a dead ball foul against Ohio State. It would be assessed on the kickoff, which must occur.
John Cooper biting his nails again, a real nail biter, as we said. Oh, there it is. It's a touchdown. and you think he's feeling that pain in the back right now, Jack?
No, I think it's gone. All of a sudden, disappeared.
He's moving pretty good for a guy that has a bad back.
He got Corey Pargo on the field in a hurry. Ohio State's 11th man. The Buckeyes lead by a point, 27-26. Iowa has asked for a timeout. What a contrast in expressions. Hayden Frey appears as though he's aged 20 years on a single play.
It'll make you do that when you have control for 59 minutes and 59 seconds practically, and to see yourself lose control. Greg Frey, 36 attempts, 13 completions, 218 yards, but 3 big TDs through the air. And the strength of the Ohio State passing game with this experienced wide receiving core really has been the difference in this ball game today.
Ohio State was hit with a penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct. It would be assessed on the kickoff. The Buckeyes lead by a point. I tell you what, Paul, you go for 2 here, and you guard against Iowa going the other way for 2 points on the extra point. New rule put in play a few years ago. So Frey just touches it down back at the 6-yard line. Buckeyes did not even try to convert it. 1 second still remains. Buckeyes played it safe. Time does not tick off on the extra point, whether you kick it or run it from scrimmage. So the kickoff will occur, as we said a moment ago. There will be a kickoff, as we mentioned a moment ago or so. But the Buckeyes will have to kick it off from 15 yards further back downfield following the 15-yard assessment. Now Iowa may elect to fair catch it. The clock would remain at 1. And then the Hawkeyes would have one last gasp, and they would hope for a Hail Mary, a pass interference.
Hayden Frey striding that Iowa sideline almost in utter disbelief of what has happened.
Yeah, he is shocked. He's talking to himself. Leading by 12 several minutes ago. The Buckeyes, with a miraculous comeback, have stormed ahead by a point, 27-26, pulling off a finish much like Iowa pulled off against Ohio State a few years ago in Columbus when the Hawkeyes beat the Buckeyes on the last play from scrimmage in that game.
Absolutely, and we were just talking about Iowa having a chance to do the unbelievable, which is beat Michigan, Michigan State, Illinois, and Ohio State in one season, and it looks like it's not going to happen.
So following the 15-yard assessment against Ohio State, the Bucks tee it up at the 20. Here's Williams' kick. Let's see if it's a squib style. It is. It hops down inside the 35, taken at the 30 by Iowa, run back and pitched, and the Hawkeyes are just throwing it around like a game that occurred on the West Coast several years ago. That was a forward lateral.
That one too.
And that one too.
That one three.
Oh my.
Yeah, well, it's over.
Well, the Buckeyes were all over the football a few times there. The Hawkeyes committed at least 2 forward laterals, maybe 3. Pandemonium among the Buckeyes. A tremendous finish turned in by Ohio State, down 26-14. The Buckeyes, who were underdogs in this game in Iowa City, rally and upset Iowa 27-26 and are now right back in the thick of the race for the Rose Bowl. So for Paul Warfield, Jack Kramer saying so long from Iowa City, where bedlam has broken out among the Buckeyes and Ohio State fans. Ohio State nips Iowa in a thriller, 27-26.
Excellence. At The Ohio State University, it's not a word we use lightly. We strive for excellence in everything we do, from academics to athletics. Whether it's our selective admissions policy that seeks the best high school graduates for our freshman class, our 4,000 distinguished faculty, including a Nobel laureate and 8 international experts serving as Ohio eminent scholars, our state-of-the-art equipment and facilities, or our recreation and intramural sports program, the largest in the nation. It's all part of the experience, the excitement, the excellence that is The Ohio State University.
You're watching WOSU TV 34 in Columbus and WPBO TV 42 in Portsmouth.
We now join our scheduled program. In progress.
Its determination to take all necessary measures in support of freedom and in defense of peace in Southeast Asia.
We're headed for an area that the helicopter pilots call automatic alley. Point being that they almost automatically get small arms and machine gun fire from that area.
The first priority foreign policy objective of our next administration will be bring an honorable end to the war in Vietnam.
Places we suffered and died for, Da Nang, Ham Ranh, Quy Nhon, flashed briefly in the headlines, North Vietnamese advancing, South Vietnamese evacuating, and then vanished.
Lefties and honorable people who lived up to their pledge to defend democracy and did the best they could. This is Walter Cronkite. Good night.
75 years ago, this nation lost a president who was a combat veteran. The nation came to a standstill. The ceremony, the ritual, and the Navy hymn, Eternal Father Strong to Save, gives this nation the opportunity to thank all veterans who have served this great country of ours. American veterans, we salute you. The Ohio State University Marching Band is directed by Dr. John Woods.
Script Ohio, Hang On Sloopy, and the Buckeye Battle Cry. Cherish the golden memories of the Ohio State University Marching Band. WOSU TV and the Marching Band are offering this special videotape containing the band's most exciting moments. To obtain your copy, send a check or money order for $29.95 to WOSU TV Marching Band Video, 2400 Olentangy River Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43210. That's WOSU TV Marching Band Video, 2400 Olentangy River Road, Columbus, Ohio, 43210.
Public broadcasting from the Ohio State University. This is WOSU TV 34 in Columbus and WPBO TV 42 in Portsmouth.
In the Mexican-American community, a girl's 15th birthday is a special event.
She's a real woman now.
For Marta Dela Cruz, her 15th birthday is the most important day of her life. It signals a time of passage.
Are you sure you know how to do this? Don't worry. I've seen my sister do it 1,000,000 times.
A time of transition.
Can her father dance with his little girl?
All the other girls get to dance with boys.
And a time of discovery as Marta learns the truth about her father's citizenship.
What does it mean in these files when the same person has two names? Did you see the file in this office? Yes. If they were a citizen, they wouldn't be coming to this office.
Tony Plana, Jenny Gago, Susan Rattan, and Jerry Stiller star in the conclusion of Sweet 15 on WonderWorks. WonderWorks is made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with additional funding from viewers like you and the National Endowment for the Arts.
Little girl's toys left behind, so much there that she has yet to find.